the Northeastern, the JLP is Audrey Marks at 5,003 votes. The PNP is Valentin Wint, 3,414. Clive Warren of the JPP, 18 votes and 68 boxes of 111. Clarendon Southeastern, we have the JLP's Pernell Charles Jr., 1,431. Sian Barneswell of the PNP, former mayor, 1,005. Sian Thomas of the JPP with 11 votes. That's pretty early still, 22 boxes out, 144.
Been like this for a while now.
Yeah, I think we've been stuck there. Earl, let me hand over to you for the next few.
That's the old Bustamante and Hugh Shearer seat. Strong JLP seat. Manchester Northwestern, 66 of 104 boxes. Michael Phillips continues to lead for the PNP, 4,258 to Damian Young of the JLP, 3,661. Tricia Stewart Angus of the JPP, 20 votes. Manchester Central, 117 of 139 boxes. Donovan Mitchell, 7,617 votes to the incumbent Rhoda Crawford, 7,335. It's tight, but it's getting close to the end.
Let's go back now to PNP headquarters with Dwayne. Still 20.
No, big man.
Yeah, I think we've been stuck there. Earl, let me hand over to you.
That's the old Bustamante.
Thank you so much. So the seat counts is very close, and the actual votes in the constituencies are even closer. And as an indication of how close it is, these PNP supporters, they still believe that they can win. And in fact, if you ask them, they are winning. I'm joined now by two of these hundreds of PNP supporters who have gathered here at the party's headquarters, interestingly named Mr. Green, who is a People's National Party supporter. Mr. Green, what do you make of your party's performance so far? What do you make of your party's performance so far?
Well, it's very good. It's a good performance. And I think we can win this election tonight. Too early to call, but I think we can win it.
Why are you so confident?
Because if you look at the seats, they are very close. And the last election, they were like by 2010 and so on. So this time around, the PNP people have come out, not so much like we don't want them to come out, but they come out. Understand? So I'm looking positively for the People's National Party to take it tonight.
I remember some of your fellow supporters and even some of the leaders in the party were saying that you could get around 38, 40 seats. It doesn't look like that will happen tonight. What are you predicting now?
Well, I'm predicting that 32, 31.
Oh, that would be very close. The interestingly named Mr. Green, who is a People's National Party supporter. I'm joined by a younger member of the People's National Party. Sir, remind me your name, please, and tell Jamaica what's your name.
Mr. Forbes. The name is Mr. Forbes. Yes. So today we are here and marching on to victory. We are starting Manchester, gathering it back, and we are moving forward. Progress. We are moving forward.
It's a little bit close. Is it closer than you would have wanted?
Well, the race is not finished as yet. The fat lady has not yet seen. So we are here and waiting on the best to come.
Do you have the fat lady's number? What is she telling you?
Well, the fat lady is already calling me now, so I know it's victory. March, we marching.
Well, as soon as you get the results from the fat lady, I'm hoping you share it with me. As you can imagine, as I explained earlier, a party-like atmosphere here at the People's National Party's headquarters. These supporters, very, very confident. They are certain they're going to win it. I'll be here all night, as I told you, Dion. So it's back to you until then.
Thank you so much. And let's go to a break. We're back with more from our election results show, Vote 2025, in just a moment.
First, we are at the 2025 national election in Jamaica, and of course Flashpoint is bringing this one for you, and we are definitely covering this election and seeing to it that we definitely will not it's not over until the fat lady sing, and I'll tell you one thing for sure. The team here at Flashpoint is actually, we are cheering on for both parties, who made the better party win. And so, as you notice, I am wearing white, and I'm definitely not on any side right now. But I'm sure that when it comes down to the last part of it, then I guess there must be a place where everybody find themselves a place. Of course, we are definitely awaiting some of the results. But very interesting. The Dan Anderson polls polled that this race would be very close, and the people of Jamaica, the people have spoken. They say that many people didn't think that we would have had so many persons turn out for the election this year. One of the big questions were, and I was asking it earlier in the day, whether or not the people in the diaspora were supposed to be allowed to vote in the election, seeing that they are not actually living in Jamaica, but they are Jamaicans, however, and actually living in Jamaica. But this is where the rubber hits the road. All right, so we are saying, some persons say it is not, the people in the diaspora should not vote because they are not living in Jamaica, they are not affected by what's happening in Jamaica, so they shouldn't be able to make the decisions for Jamaicans who are actually living in Jamaica. But many persons came back and they said, well, for the GDP of Jamaica to be actually 40% of remittances to Jamaica, yes, the persons in the diaspora definitely need to actually be a part of the whole thoroughfare of the Jamaican context of the election, as it were. So yeah, we are here at Flashpoint hanging out, and we are awaiting the results of the election this evening. And it is, if my time is serving me right, it's saying this is 8:46 in the PM at this point. And we are actually just trying to catch the last act. Let the fat lady sing this evening, and we are excited about what's happening. I think for most persons who are attending this election and seeing the progress of Jamaica back in the 70s, not in the 70s, back in the late 1970s to 2000 to 80s to 90s, elections were not this peaceful, and I would say that there was a lot of chaos going on. A lot of persons did some really outrageous things and some criminal things, but we actually see a difference today. All right, so we're going to join the election team once again back in Jamaica. Of course, TVJ is broadcasting this one. Of course, Flashpoint, we are definitely just trying to help us get some of this information in there as well.
Thank you so much for staying with us for TVJ's live coverage of the 2025 elections, Vote 2025, and we're so happy to have you wherever you are, whichever of our platforms you are listening or viewing this coverage on. Now, I think at this point, though, what we can say is that it's not going to be a landslide for either side, and I have to say I think that's good for the Parliament and good for democracy overall. Okay, here we go again. Earl, let me let you take this.
St. Elizabeth Southwest, one of the seats to watch. Floyd Green, the incumbent, is leading with 4,949 votes to Miranda Wellington of the PNP, 4,349. So he has a fairly comfortable lead at the moment in the context of that constituency. St. Elizabeth Southeastern, very close. Norman Scott of the PNP, 1,004 votes. The incumbent Franklin Witter, 991. And Raymond Dobbs of the JPP, he has 11 votes. Westmoreland Central, Dwayne Vaz seems to be headed back to Parliament, 7,547 to the incumbent George Wright, 6,074. Kathleen Greenwood has 31, she's from the JPP, and Don Foote, 29.
I'm seeing a message here from one of our reporters. We're hearing that ballot boxes were still coming in at the counting center in Trelawney just up to some minutes ago. We're told that there was heavy traffic. That's why we weren't seeing a lot. Go ahead. Right.
Early days still in Westmoreland Western, but the JLP's Garfield James, a former PNP member, He has 50.5% to Ian Hales of the PNP, 48.6%. And Ian Hales is a former JLP member, so that's quite an interesting.
Yes.
Gilbert James, 0.7%, 13 votes, and Bertland Madden of the JPP, 4 votes. Hanover Eastern, 58 of 99 boxes. Andrea Perkis of the PNP, 54%, that's 3,334, to Dave Brown, the incumbent of the JLP, 2,789. Craig Eubanks of the JPP, 19 votes, and Jordan Cunningham of the UIC,
Yes.
9 votes. Hanover Western, Heather Miller Bennett of the PNP, 5,499. Tamika Davis, the incumbent of the JLP, 4,728. Leonard Sharp of the JPP, 51. That's 96 of 116 boxes. It seems the PNP might be on its way to retaking both Hanover seats. Portland Eastern, 96 boxes of 140. It's looking good for the PNP. Isaac Buchanan with 5,636 votes. Anne-Marie Vaz of the JLP, she's the incumbent, 5,224. But there are many boxes to be counted yet. Portland Western, 74 of 104. And Darrell Vaz, the incumbent of the JLP, 4,164. To Doreen Campbell of the PNP, 3,350. Michael Aiken of the JPP, he has 12 votes.
And just to call our viewers and listeners' attention, call our viewers' attention and let our listeners know, if you look at a little icon at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, that's telling you the number of seats that have been completed and declared. So you're seeing there 11 for the JLP, 9 for the PNP. So of course, just to make the distinction, those are the ones that have been completed, as opposed to what we get when we go to Kalisha at EOJ, which is a broader look at who is leading.
In St. Anne South Western, it looks like order has been restored. Xavier Main of the JLP, he has 4,426. Danishka Williams of the PNP, 3,221. Clive Edwards of the JPP, 26 votes. So it's a comfortable lead at the moment for Xavier Main.
And speaking of Kalisha, let's go to her at EOJ.
Thank you so much, Dion. Just a quick update in terms of what we're seeing on our end here at the ECJ. So far, again, an update in terms of the lead so far. The Jamaica Labour Party leading in 34 seats. The People's National Party now leading in 29 seats. Now, the last time we spoke, I said the JLP was leading in 36 seats and the PNP was leading in 27 seats. So we've seen a change now. JLP leading in 34 seats and the People's National Party leading in 29 seats. I also saw the final count for St. Catherine East Central, and I can say the Jamaica Labour Party won that. Party's Raymond Price going against the Jamaica Labour Party's Orlando Terrelong, and that's one of the seats where the People's National Party has not won it. The only one that's seat once since it was created, and the Jamaica Labour Party has won that seat twice since it was created in 2011. If you would just move with me, I'm going. So we're technical issue here. I'm going to throw back to you until next time.
Okay, thank you so much for that update, Kalisha. Just to repeat for you, the JLP now leading in 34 seats, PNP leading in 29. And again, the icon at the bottom of the screen, the JLP has so far won 11 seats, the PNP has won 9. Okay, here's St. Anne North Western, the JLP's Crystal Lee now in front with 5,408 votes to the PNP's Gabriella Morris, 5,011, 93 boxes of 135.
Very, very tight in that seat. I just want to go back to Xavier Main's seat. Mr. Moxham said order has been restored. Hard-working member of parliament, also good organizer, and so I'm not surprised by that.
Trelawney Northern on screen, 84 boxes of 146. The PNP's Wickham McNeil, 4,468 votes to Tova Hamilton of the JLP, 4,132, 84 boxes of 146. And here's Trelawney South, 21 boxes of 96. The JLP is Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, 1,352. Paul Patmore of the PNP, 1,246. And we go now to St. James South. Haven't seen this for a bit, I think. 79 boxes of 110. The PNP is Nikisha Burchell, 4,471. The JLP is Homer Davis, 4,307. Leon Cunningham of the JPP has 12 votes. St. James West Central, 58 boxes of 106, so they're about halfway there. The JLP's Marley Malahoo Fort, the incumbent, 3,332. Andre Houghton of the PNP, 2,921. Clifford Barnett, 13 votes. St. James East Central, 94 boxes of 117. Ed Bartlett of the JLP, 5,850. Rochelle Reed Knott of the PNP, 3,782. And we are moving on to, let's see, here's St. Thomas Eastern. Let's see, this is 105 boxes of 128. The PNP is Yvonne Shaw, 5,982. The JLP is Michelle Charles, the incumbent, 5,595. Claudius Wong has 28 votes. Jovian Blair of the JPP has 20.
I think Yvonne Rosemary Shaw used to be a member of the Jamaica Labour Party.
Mm-hmm.
I think she actually worked very closely with Dr. Michelle Charles's father, Pernell Charles Sr., for many years. And she was a former mayor in Morant Bay as well,
yes.
right,
Yes.
Earl?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so she's putting up a fight, and it seems as if the JLP is going to lose one of the St. Thomas seats.
Here's
this
the other
evening.
one up there, St. Thomas
Yeah.
Western, 105 of 163. James Robertson of the JLP, 5,443. The PNP's Hubert Williams, 4,806. Carleen Affleck of the JPP, 35 votes. And St. Catherine Southeastern, this is the one I think you've been saying we hadn't seen.
Yeah.
This is about, not quite 50% there, 48 boxes of 135. Alfred Dawes of the PNP, 2,716. Robert Miller of the JLP, 2,617. No, go again, 2,615. Casey and Radcliffe of the JPP, 30 votes. I think this is literally the first time we've seen this
Yes,
one
yes,
all
I've
night.
never seen that one.
My count is a little bit
One
farther
second
than
for me.
this,
St. Catherine Northwestern, 83 boxes of 122. Damian Crawford of the PNP, 4,328. Newton Amos of the JLP, 3,598. Lloyd Smith has 12 votes of the JPP. Now we go to St. Andrew East Central, 63 boxes of 113. Dennis Gordon of the PNP, 3,301. Davian Vassell of the JLP, 2,774. Princess Ford of the JPP, 57. You are saying this is Peter Phillips'
Yes.
old constituency.
Young candidate, going well so far, going well. Mr. Vassell.
DK Duncan's constituency in another lifetime as well.
Here's Juliet Holness, St. Andrew East Rural, 77 boxes of 137. She has 4,925 votes to the PNP's Patrick Peterkin, 4,545. Kamisha Hendricks, 29 votes of UIC. Purcell Jackson of the JPP, 23 votes.
Speaker of the House.
Former.
Former, yes.
I don't think we've seen this one for a while. St. Andrew West Rural, 124 boxes of 140. And the incumbent, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, with 7,152, to Joan Gordon Webley of the PNP, 6,213. George Roach of the JPP, 62 votes.
And only 16 boxes to go.
Yeah. Earl, let me let you take over.
Manchester North Eastern, Audrey Marks of the PNP, 56%, 6,472 votes, to Valentin Wint of the PNP, 5,144. Clive Warren of the JPP, 30. That's a seat that was dominated by Audley Shaw for quite a while. And Manchester North Western, 83 of 104 boxes. Michael Phillips of the PNP, 5,625. Damian Young of the JLP, 4,521. Tricia Stewart Angus of the JPP, 28 votes. St. Elizabeth Southeastern, Norman Scott continues to lead, but is only 17 of 109 boxes. He has 1,004 votes to Franklin Witter, 991. Raymond Dobbs of the JPP, 11 votes. St. Catherine Eastern, Denise Daly of the PNP, 6,589. Dwight Peku rather, of the JLP, 4,387. Lance Watson of the JPP, 74 votes. Clarendon Northern, Wabel Hines continues to lead there. It's 81 of 100 boxes, and he has 4,380 votes to Dwight Sibley's, the incumbent of the JLP, 4,303. Judy Lynn Casey Edwards of the JPP, 19 votes. Clarendon North Central, Robert Morgan seems to be headed to retaining that seat, 85 of 104 boxes, 4,527 votes for Robert Morgan, and R.J. Dixon, 3,406. Joy Johnson Roy, 24 votes, and she's from the JPP. And in Clarendon Southeastern, 25 boxes of 144, Pernell Charles Jr. continues to lead handily with 1,639 votes to Sian Barneswell, 1,132 votes. Sian Thomas of the JPP, 12 votes. St. Catherine Northwestern, Damian Crawford, 4,608 votes for the PNP, and Newton Amos for the JLP, 3,781. Lloyd Smith of the JPP, 13 votes, 89 boxes of 122. St. Mary's Southeastern, very close. Norman Dunn, the incumbents, 3,678. Christopher Brown of the PNP, 3,577. Mark Hutchinson of the JPP, 12 votes, 63 of 112 boxes. St. Mary's Central, Omar Newell of the PNP, 5,904 votes. Nathaniel Maraj of the JLP, 4,345. Rena Rose Cargill, 11 votes for the JPP, 85 of 105 boxes. That would be a hold for the PNP. St. Mary Western, Robert Montague, the incumbent, 3,641, doing very well against Omar Woodbine of the PNP, 5,683 votes. Chase Neal of the UIC, 22 votes, 99 of 147 boxes.
Chairman of the party is looking good. Yeah, he's looking really good.
And Kingston Central, 75 of 80 boxes. 75 of 80 boxes. The incumbent, Donovan Williams, seeking to hold it for the JLP, 4,575 votes. Steve McGregor of the PNP, 4,377 votes. Garth Barnett of the UIC, 22 votes. Dwayne Smith in St. Andrew Northwestern, 4,402 votes to Ethelene Miller Simpson of the PNP, 3,293 votes. Orlando Robinson of the JPP, 79 votes, and that is 80 boxes of 112 counted.
Okay, let's just stick a pin, take a break, and we'll be back with much more results, all the latest, when we come back with our results show for 2025. Do stay with us.
have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we're putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Got Talent.
Of course, we're locked into the election mode right here at Flashpoint, and I'm telling you, it's 2025. The elections in Jamaica is going well, and the people are voting, people are celebrating, everybody is having a wonderful time. Of course, joining me later on, we'll have a few of our colleagues talking on the election in a few, but we're just watching it as the people of Jamaica celebrate and go out and what you say, exercise your democratic right. Many persons have lost their lives for this one opportunity, and it is very unfortunate if we actually squander it away, that you wouldn't have gone to the polls and actually cast your vote. The one thing that you can do to make a choice or to make a decision for your country, you would not do it. And some people are sitting on the sidelines the whole time. I understand that there are persons who actually sat on the sidelines and did not do anything in terms of voting. They were saying they were uncertain of what the whole matter of the election was about, and whether or not it was something that they wanted to participate in. What I do know is this: if you don't have a vote, you don't have a voice. And so when you have your vote, that's the voice that you have to make a choice or to choose the government that you would want for yourself, and not let someone else choose the government that you don't want for you. So of course, many of my friends are in green and some are in orange, and it wasn't too long ago that the elections were in the Grand Cayman Islands as well, and many persons ended up feeling a little disappointed, but the outcome is the outcome, and right now there's a new coalition government that is running the Cayman Islands. But here's Jamaica. Jamaica have two major political parties, and of course there are a few independents that are actually vying for some seat in the parliament so that it can be a part of the decision making of the Jamaican context in this world. Of course, we have persons who have considered the idea that persons outside of Jamaica, and this is a question that we've been asking, I must say it once again, that we were asking whether or not people living in diaspora, if it is okay for them to vote in this election or not. And so many persons would say, no, it is not right for persons living in diaspora to actually vote in the election. But nevertheless, we would say, because we have what you call a remittance system, where persons outside of Jamaica actually spend so much money or send so much money home to their families all over, we would say that it is right for persons in the diaspora to actually have a part of the voice in Jamaica. All right, so we're going to be joining the team back in Jamaica once again for the election highlights.
Thank you, Dion. Now the race is heating up. Now earlier we saw the People's National Party leading in 30 seats and the Jamaica Labour Party leading in 33 seats, but now from what I'm looking at on the chart again, the People's National Party is back to leading at 29 seats and the Jamaica Labour Party 34 seats. I'm going to move over to this chart to my right, and one of the constituencies we've been monitoring closely, Dion, that's Trelawney Northern. As you know, in the last general election, the Jamaica Labour Party won that seat. It was a surprise for many people because the Jamaica Labour Party had not won that seat in decades. And we're seeing now the People's National Party's Wickham McNeil leading in that constituency, 6,637 votes, to the Jamaica Labour Party's Tova Hamilton, 5,686 votes. Another constituency, Dion, that we have been monitoring closely, that's Manchester Central, where the Jamaica Labour Party won for the first time in decades in 2020. But what we're seeing now, well, it's still close in that constituency. Just 130 of the 139 boxes counted, and the Jamaica Labour Party Jamaica Labour Party's Rhoda Moy Crawford leading by 8,399 votes to the PNP's 8,314 votes. I'm going to ask the videographer to just come with me to the other screen I'm looking at right now. Going again to St. James Southern. Another one we've been watching, we're seeing where the People's National Party has a slight lead in that constituency. The Nikisha Burchell leading their 5,870 votes to the former Mayor Homer Davis, 5,644 votes. Going now over to St. Thomas Eastern, and we're seeing where the People's National Party's Yvonne Shaw, she's leading by 6,600, well, her tally now is 6,604 votes to the incumbent, Dr. Michelle Charles, 6,177 votes. Another one that people have been watching, and many people are saying that it seems as if it is a surprise to them. We're seeing for Portland Eastern, the People's National Party is leading in that constituency. As many people know, the Jamaica Labour Party's Anne-Marie Vaz won that constituency in 2020 after a 30-year drought for the Jamaica Labour Party, and Isaac Buchanan of the People's National Party is leading in that constituency, 96 of 140 boxes counted. Now, Dion, overall, we're seeing an 85.2% of the boxes completed, and I'll have some more updates for you as soon as they become available. But again, Dion, the race is heating up. It's back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Kalisha. And it certainly is, and you heard Kalisha there saying the numbers are continuing to shift from 3330 to back to 3429. And that East Portland seat, Earl, a quick comment on what we're seeing there.
Well, this one would be a bit of a shake-up. Many people expected Anne-Marie Vaz, the incumbent, to hold it fairly easily, but we did see that Isaac Buchanan was mounting a serious challenge. And so, bearing in mind that this has been historically a strong PNP seat, perhaps it should not be surprising that it is this competitive.
Yeah, it's a seat the PNP used to win by over 1,000 and then over 2,000 votes. Mm-hmm. So it was really because of Anne-Marie Vaz's ground operation why she was able to win the by-election and to hold on to it in 2020. 2020 was a misnomer. So what we're seeing now is a rebalancing of the scales. I expect at the end of tonight, the entire western belt of the country to go back orange because it was never really a green space. So Westmoreland 3, we see Eastern Westmoreland going to Dayton Campbell by over 1,000, which is how they used to win there, except in 2020 when Luther Buchanan lost by 11. But Central...
So sorry to interrupt you, just to say this is another one that's now completed. The PNP's Richard Azan taking Clarendon Northwestern over the JLP's Warren Newby, with Azan having polled 6,989 votes to the JLP's Warren Newby 6,490. Kevin Palmer picked up some votes there. And here is Westmoreland Eastern. This is showing 121 of 123 votes. It's been given now to Dayton Campbell of the PNP, 7,434 votes over Daniel Lawrence's 5,556. Here's Westmoreland Central, 169 of 70. It's given now to Dwayne Vaz of the PNP, back in Parliament with 9,869 over George Wright's 8,326. Kathleen Greenwood with 39 votes and Don Foote with 38. And Westmoreland Western, Westmoreland now. This is 108 of 138. Ian Hales of the PNP, 6,454. Garfield James of the JLP, 4,820. Gilbert James, 54. Bertrand Madden of the JPP, 23 votes. St. Anne's Southwestern, 108 boxes of 138. This has Xavier Main, 5,069 votes over Danishka Williams of the PNP, 3,698. Clive Edwards, 28 votes, and that's 73 boxes of 105. And we have St. Anne Northwestern, 73 boxes of 105. Crystal Lee, the incumbent, holding on here at the moment with a lead with 7,346. Gabriella Morris, our first time out, 6,924. That's 10 boxes left to count in this constituency. Let's go now to the JLP headquarters.
It's turning into a party-like atmosphere here at the JLP headquarters, Dion. As you can see behind me, you will see that a number of JLP supporters are dancing, they're ringing their bells, they're playing one of their favorite anthems on the campaign trail, The Lord is My Shepherd. So that is the mood here at the moment. I'm now joined by another JLP supporter who is also dancing. Hi, good night. What's your name?
Newton Harris.
Why was it important for you to be here tonight?
To celebrate our victory.
Where did you vote?
I voted in St. Anne Northwestern for Crystal Lee.
So how is the trend looking for you based on what you've picked up so far?
Well, we always knew it would have been a close race, but we put in the work. Crystal has done phenomenally well in the one term. 2 years stolen by COVID, but she's done phenomenally well in terms of the infrastructure, the services, the roads, the health centers, all of the wonderful things that Crystal has done, the water projects with amazing stuff compared to what has gone before. So our constituency really has seen a difference.
All right, thank you so much.
Sorry?
Thank you so much. I know it's difficult to hear me. So that's the scene here at the JLP headquarters, Dion. Maybe I could just get another supporter. Can you talk to me? Hi, good night. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What's your name?
Zachary.
Okay, I see you celebrating. You think you won?
Yes, I do. I'm very confident for the JLP.
It's not yet too early to declare.
Too early? That doesn't really mean much right now because we're confident, we put in the work, we have the achievements to prove that we deserve the third term. So Dr. Holness will return as well as our MPs.
Thank you so much. Well, that's the mood here at the JLP headquarters, Leon. I'll check in with you a few moments later.
Thank you so much for that, Andrea. And yes, we'll continue to check in with you, and some more interesting results have been coming in. In fact, we are now seeing Clarendon Southeastern there with, okay, we moved on to St. Catherine Southwest. Okay, we are going thick and fast, aren't we? So St. Catherine Southwest, Everall Warmington. Here's St. Catherine Southern, Fitzjackson. And St. Catherine Central, Olivia Babsy Grange. So we're kind of moving fast through those. Okay, here we go. St. Elizabeth Southwestern, and as the Sainty boy in the room, Earl, you get to do the honors here. Read the next couple for me.
Floyd Green of the JLP, he's the incumbent, 9,044. Miranda Wellington of the PNP, 7,650. And the significance of this particular seat is that it always goes to the party that wins nationally. So that may be one of the reasons why there's celebration at JLP headquarters at the moment. Yes. Clarendon Southeastern, Pernell Charles Jr. of the JLP, 1,824. Sian Barnswell of the PNP, 1,284. And Sian Thomas of the JPP, 13 votes. That's 27 boxes of 144. Clarendon Northern, Wavell Hines, the cricketer, 5,623 to Dwight Sibley's of the JLP, 5,407. Judy Lynn Casey Edwards of the JPP, 24 votes. That's 95 boxes of 104. Of 100, rather. St. Thomas Eastern, 114 of 128 boxes. Yvonne Shaw continues to lead, 6,597. And the incumbent, Michelle Charles of the JLP, 6,188. Claudius Wong is on 31. And Jovian Blair of the JPP, 26. St. Thomas Western, James Robertson, the incumbent, 6,836. Hubert Williams of the PNP, 5,696. And Carleen Affleck of the JPP, 39 votes. That's 125 of 163 boxes rather. St. Andrew West Central, the constituency of the Prime Minister, very, very tight. 87 boxes of 105. Paul Buchanan of the PNP is now leading, 4,867 votes to Andrew Holness, 4,762.
What you said, Earl?
Are you stunned?
You don't see one having a sip.
Manchester North Eastern. You have Audrey Marks of the JLP performing according to tradition there. 6,589 to Valentin Wint of the PNP, 5,207. And Clive Warren of the JPP, he has 30 votes. If we could go back to that West Central for a moment. The PNP used to dominate that in the days of Dudley Thompson and David Core and A.J. Nicholson.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a 1% lead at the moment for Paul Buchanan.
If we could go to St. Elizabeth again, let's see what the other weather vane is saying. Southwest St. Elizabeth.
Wow. Norman Scott of the PNP, 1,004 votes. Franklin Witter, the incumbent from the JLP, 991, but it's only 17 of 109 boxes. Portland Eastern, 96 of 140 boxes. Isaac Buchanan of the PNP, 5,636. Anne-Marie Vaz, the incumbent of the JLP, 5,224. So it's a 4-point lead for Buchanan, and there are 23 votes for the JPP's Tracy Ann Gillespie Harris. I think, Dion, we need to remind the listeners that we call out these figures because we also have listeners on radio. Yes. Trelawney Northern, Tova Hamilton has taken the lead now over Wickham McNeil, 6,826 to McNeil, 6,792, and it's 123 of 146 boxes. So we're seeing the finish line up ahead. And Marissa Dalrymple Philibert has restored order in Trelawney Southern, 1,787 to Paul Patmore, 1,486. That's 26 of 96 boxes though. St. Mary's Southeastern, Norman Dunn, the incumbent, he is being tracked very closely by Christopher Brown. So Norman Dunn has 5,235, Christopher Brown 5,112, and Mark Hutchinson has 20 votes for the JPP. St. Mary Western, Robert Montague continues to dominate there, 7,219 to Omar Woodbine, 6,398, and Chase Neal, 25 votes.
And this is another weather vane seat that indicates to the country as well what is likely to happen. Same for Southwest St. Elizabeth and the other one you mentioned a moment before. So we will see how Mr. Woodbine fares.
And in St. Andrew East Central, Dennis Gordon of the PNP, he's now doing very well, 6,425 to Davion Vassell of the JLP 3,949 and Princess Ford of the JPP 82, 106 boxes of 113.
Okay, here's St. Andrew West Rural. This is 136 boxes out of 140. Juliet Cuthbert Flynn of the JLP, 7,909 votes. The PNP's Joan Gordon Webley, 6,994. And that's been called for Juliet Cuthbert Flynn. St. Andrew Northwestern, 101 of 112 boxes. Dwayne Smith of the JLP, 5,648. Ethne Miller Simpson, 4,124. Orlando Robinson, the JPP, 106. Here we are back in St. Andrew East Rural, 123 boxes of 137. Houston, Portland.
Ultrasound. They're convenient.
Two Anne-Marie Vaz of the JLP, 7,600.
Looking to build your dream home or renovate your space? M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we're putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman's Got Talent.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4, Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-9.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument?
So in case you've been having problems, Flow Jamaica has reported what they're calling a severe act of vandalism, which they say has disrupted internet, landline and TV services for numerous customers in the areas of St. Catherine, Maypen and Mandeville. And they said the section of fiber cable that was damaged was had protective concrete slabs and sealed the manholes. Those were breached, and the company is restoring, they said, working to restore as quickly as possible. They said they're also condemning the act which has taken place, as you know, on election day. So if you're having difficulties, that might be the cause. All right, let's just look at what's happening here in St. Catherine, East Central. Let's see, this is completed. The JLP's Alando Terrelong has retained his seat with 6,364 votes. Raymond Price of the PNP polling 5,379 votes. PNP polling 5,379 votes. Let's go now to Jamila Maitland, who is in the constituency.
I'm on the Newlands Main Road in St. Catherine, East Central, where Jamaica Labour Party voters are in high celebration mood. Now, TV at a shop right now is the main attraction, and that's because they're watching the live results right now. Crowds of people just swarming around the TV, trying to see what's happening with their member of parliament. Now, by the latest data that I had, Alando Terrelong was comfortably winning, and I just saw now from their TV that he was declared the winner. So as you can hear in the background, lots of excitement here on the Newlands Main Road. I am going to call in a Jamaica Labour Party supporter right now, Kimmy. Kimmy's joining us. You're live on TVJ News. Tell us, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling so excited right now for my nice team MP, because me I tell you, him work. We talk about funeral, we talk about nine, we talk about graduation, we talk about assistant. Him tell you put in your pot and get office every Thursday for assistant. We talk about education, him dead there. We talk about all people, him dead there. One turn long, cross the board. We talk about your house burned down, him dead there. 9-night funeral, him dead there. Oh God, man, I feel so excited for my MP. One turn long, never two. Think of a nice piece of my MP. Show labor rights.
All right, so that was Kimmy here on the Newlands Main Road. We are in St. Catherine East Central, where Alando Terrelong was declared the winner by the preliminary results. He is now the MP for the third time here in St. Catherine East Central. where he defeated Raymond Price, the PNP's Raymond Price, and there was an independent candidate from the JPP that is Cassian Radcliffe. I think her name is Cassian Radcliffe. So that's it. Lots of excitement, as you can hear. And they are tuning in to TVJ News, getting the live updates here on what's happening on our results show. There you have it. It's back to you in studio, Dion.
Thank you so much, Jamila. And of course, TVJ is exactly the place for you to get all your ongoing coverage of this election. Let's go over back now to the EOJ with Kalisha.
Yes, Dion, we're almost at the finish line. 93% of all the boxes counted, and earlier it's similar to what we saw in the previous update. The Jamaica Labour Party was leading by, well, it was 32-31 at one point, and now we're seeing it back at 30-33. So the Jamaica Labour Party leading in 33 constituencies to the People's National Party's 30. An interesting one, Dion, that you pointed to earlier. We're going to go to it. We're seeing in St. Andrew West Central, the Prime Minister's seat. We're seeing the People's National Party's candidate, Paul Buchanan, leading in that seat. And we have 87 of the 105 boxes counted. So it's almost 82% completed. And we're seeing the People's National Party's candidate leading in the Prime Minister's constituency. And we're going to move over now to St. Andrew Northwestern, where we're seeing the People's National Party's candidate, Ethne Miller Simpson. She is trailing the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate, Dwayne Smith, in that constituency. Going down now to St. Andrew West Rural, where we're seeing, well, the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate, the incumbent, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn. She is leading in that constituency to 8,290 votes to the People's National Party's candidate, Joan Gordon Webley, 7,157 votes. Now, should the incumbent hold on to this seat, it will be the second time the Jamaica Labour Party has had 3 consecutive wins in that constituency in St. Andrew West Rural. And going over now, if the videographer could just come with me, we're going to St. Ann Northwestern, where we're seeing the People's National Party's candidate, Gabriella Morris, at 6,989 votes to the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate, 7,383 votes in that constituency. Final one, Dion, before I come back to you. In Portland Eastern, we're seeing the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate still trailing the People's National Party's candidate, Anne-Marie Vaz, 8,072 votes to the People's National Party's Isaac Buchanan, 8,290 votes. So as I said, we're almost there, almost at the finish line for this evening, Dion. 93% of the boxes counted, and again, the People's National Party leading in 30 seats, the JLP leading in 33 seats. It's back to you.
Thank you so much. Really important to get that kind of global picture of what is happening. 33-30, and you heard as well, it seemed to have been moving a little bit up and down, but the latest figures there, 33 seats in which the JLP is leading and 30 for the PNP. Here's St. Thomas Eastern again. This is 2 boxes left to count, 126 of 128. And this has been declared now for Rosemary Shaw of the PNP. The incumbent Michelle Charles has lost this seat, 7,284 at this point to Yvonne Shaw, and the JLP is Michelle Charles, 6,807. Here's Portland Eastern, 1 box left to count here. Isaac Buchanan, 8,290 votes. This is what Kelisha just read for us, but I wasn't sure of the boxes left to count. So we have 1 box left to count, in fact, in Portland Eastern.
And Manchester Central.
Okay.
Interesting.
Read from Errol.
Rhoda Crawford, the incumbent, has held on to defeat Donovan Mitchell. She secured 9,035 votes to Donovan Mitchell, 8,861. So that's 1 hold in Manchester for the JLP.
Strong candidate, hard-working member of Parliament. She deserves to go back to Parliament. Brother Moy Crawford, one of Jamaica's best talent in the parliament.
Manchester North Eastern and Audrey Marks has taken it. 7,652 votes to Valentin Wint of the PNP, 6,209. Clive Warren of the JPP, 33 votes. And it's tightening again in St. Andrew West Central, the Prime Minister's constituency. Paul Buchanan, 4,867 to Dr. Andrew Holness, 4,762. That's 50.5% to 49.5%. Trelawney Northern, and you have Tova Hamilton, the incumbent, leading Dr. Wickham McNeil, 7,408 to McNeil, 7,198, 131 of 146 boxes. St. James Southern, Nikisha Burchell of the PNP, continues to lead.
Completed.
Oh, in fact, I didn't see the tick. It's completed, so she has won it for the PNP. So that's one pulled back for the PNP from their last time.
The work begins.
St. James West Central, 71 of 106 boxes. Marlene Malahu Fort, 4,193 to Andre Houghton of the PNP, 3,633. And Clifford Barnett has 15 votes.
I think what we're seeing is that the election is really down to the wire and it's still anybody's game at this point in time. I think what the major
you don't think the PNP has lost?
No, I think their plays for us to. I think there's two plays for us to reach at least at 32.
Okay. Feel like I'm listening to the Democrats watching the election and thinking that Kamala Harris still had
Hillary
a path.
before.
Hillary had a
There's a play for us, and I can see the play. Hopefully, materialize.
You can see the path of victory.
I think
I tell you, I hear the Democrats.
Yeah, you were counting on Manchester Central, though.
But I guess we traded it for West Central in St. Andrew.
Okay, here's St. Catherine. Here's St. Catherine Southeastern here. This is 129 boxes out of 135. And we have the PNP's Alfred Dawes with 7,405 to Robert Miller of the JLP, 6,939. Casey and Radcliffe of the JPP with 64 votes. So 6 boxes left to count here. This was one of those seats that the PNP had some infighting in.
Yes.
And the question was whether it would have hurt Dawes. St. Mary's Southeastern. This is 109 boxes out of 112. And we have the PNP's Christopher Brown having pulled ahead a bit now with 6,313 votes. JLP's Norman Dunn, 6,293. Mark Hutchinson of the JPP with 25. I am sure I heard Ron say this one was taken for the JLP. I'm sure I heard that.
I'm St. Mary
He also said it was
the chairman's seat.
No, sir, I'm sure I said the other one. But all right. St. Mary Western, 129 of 147. Bobby Montague, JLP chairman, with 8,182. Omar Woodbine?
Yes.
Of the PNP, 7,403. Chase Neal of the JPP with 31 votes. St. Ann Northwestern, 127 out of 135. Crystal Lee is holding on to the lead with 7,428 votes. The PNP's Gabriella Morris, 7,077. And here's St. Ann Southwest, 81 out of 105 boxes. The incumbent Xavier Main of the JLP, 5,561 votes to the PNP's Danishka Williams, 4,104. Clive Edwards of the JPP with 30 votes. Go ahead.
PNP has taken Kingston Central.
Sorry, you have to talk louder.
This is showing that the PNP has taken Kingston Central. Let me see. With 100% of the boxes counted. It's
okay, here we have it on screen.
Oh.
Steve McGregor pulled ahead. This is magisterial recount. 4,739 over Donovan Williams of the JLP. The incumbent 4,727. Swanee did the maths for me. 12 votes.
12, yes.
All right, this one is headed to a magisterial recount, but the preliminary vote shows Steve McGregor of the PNP the winner. Garth Barnett of the UIC with 23 votes. And just to say for viewers and listeners that when you have these kinds of close results, as I said, it's inevitable the parties are going to ask for a magisterial recount. When you say like 200 or 50, that sounds like a small margin, but you're not overturning that in a magisterial recount. 12 votes they might be hoping to overturn. Clarendon Southeastern, Pernell Charles Jr., 94 boxes out of 144, 6,004 votes. Sian Barneswell of the PNP, 4,805. Sian Thomas, 38 votes. So Clifford, you start perk up again. You know, I'm looking at the scales on the two sides. Yeah, at which point one is up and one is down. Here's Northern Clarendon, 95 boxes out of 100. The PNP's Wavell Hines, 5,000. Okay, this declared for Wavell Hines. So the cricketer heads the parliament. So we'll have a cricketer and an Olympian, it looks like.
Yeah. No, well, Nether Soul is he played for Jamaica. He was another cricketer in Parliament years and years ago.
But even what's his name? Former PNP Gensec. His name is slipping me now. He's in St. Andrew.
Who? Julian?
Julian. He's a former cricketer.
At the youth level.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah. 129 boxes of 135. St. Anne Northwest, Crystal Lee continues to lead, 7,547 votes to Gabriella Morris, 7,242.
That's living. Imagine living.
Manchester Northwestern, 99 boxes out of 104. And this one, okay, Michael Phillips of the PNP, 6,687. Damian Young of the JLP, 5,516. And Trisha Stuart Angus, 36 votes. Okay, let's just give you this last one and then we go to the break. So this is nearly completed. So we can say Everard Warmington, this has been declared. Everard Warmington retains his seat. Let's go to a break. Stay tuned. You can hear some of the critical seats. We're still waiting to hear final results. We're back in a moment.
There you have it. We are definitely joining the live feed, and of course we are following the election right here at Flashpoint, and we are giving you play-by-play, ball-by-ball, play-by-play scores as it comes along for everyone this evening. You know, it is definitely an interesting and very, very interesting outcome so far. One person said to me, Mikey G, it looked like the election, our Prime Minister have a dead heat on the seat that he has, is definitely seeming as if he's actually struggling for that one. So let's see what happens next. The night is still young, but many of the ballots are already counted. But you know, there's still hope for many things to happen. Of course, our friends in Jamaica, they are logged on to tune into Flashpoint, and of course this is the station that they're actually getting their information from. So you keep it locked right here, and of course when we come back we will definitely be sharing with you some more of what's happening in the election right here 2025 in Jamaica.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here, and for our first season, we're putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6 6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman Got Talent.
Of course, Cayman Got Talent right here in the Grand Cayman Islands, and we are still waiting on the election results and coming up. But don't many persons are running high right now. I was talking to a few of my friends earlier, and some of them are saying, "Boy, this election really close." The Dan Anderson report came out, and it reported that this election is not going to be one that is not going to be a close election. They did say that, and talking to the Prime Minister earlier on in an interview, I heard him, sort of like, said, well, he wasn't paying too much of attention to the Dan Anderson poll, but here it comes, it actually is where they say it would be. And, so I guess at this time, we are definitely watching out for what's going to be happening next. All right, so I think we're going to be getting back into our election highlights once again. So stay tuned. Flashpoint Media, right here in the Grand Cayman Islands.
For staying with us as we continue our live coverage of the 2025 elections. This is Vote 2025. Kalisha is at the EOJ headquarters. Kalisha, what's the latest?
Thanks, Dion. So far, 96% of all boxes counted, and we're seeing the Jamaica Labour Party still maintaining the lead. 34 seats for the Jamaica Labour Party so far, to the People's National Party 29. Going over back to our chart here, looking at the Prime Minister's seat, that's St. Andrew West Central, we're still seeing where the People's National Party's candidate is maintaining the lead in that constituency. 87 of 105 boxes to go, so we're still not there as yet, Dion, so things could change in that constituency. Going over now to St. Andrew West Rural, where the Jamaica Labour Party's candidate, the incumbent Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, she is still leading in that constituency, 8,290 votes to the People's National Party's candidate Joan Gordon Webley. She is at 7,157 votes so far, 138 of 140 boxes right there. Now moving further to my right, well, we have some of the declared seats on top in terms of the Westmoreland Eastern, where the People's National Party won that seat. Going down now to Manchester Central, where just one box to go, and the Jamaica Labour Party is maintaining that lead in Manchester Central. Going over now to Portland Eastern, and all the boxes have been completed, and the People's National Party's candidate Isaac Buchanan has won that constituency. Now, Dion will be providing some more updates shortly, because we're almost, as I said, almost there. 96% of the boxes counted. It's back to you.
Thank you so much, Kalisha, and really, really interesting here what it is we're seeing, and let me check in with our politicals and see how they're doing. Clifford?
I believe that there's still, I still believe there's way for us to go, but regardless of how it pans out, I think the big sign that we're getting from the people across the country is that they want change. They want to see some form of change. I think
this is the spinning that has
and I see that's a signal that we're getting. The people want change. We're seeing it in the Prime Minister's seat, and we're seeing it across the country as well.
Consistency is key. At the start of the night, I said we'd win, and we're there. We're almost there.
One owner didn't have it right, because the two of you said you were going to win. So,
Yeah, but it could be a tie. It's clear when you look at seats. Rhoda Crawford winning, holding on to that seat. When you look at Xavier Main performance, when you look at Norman Dunn holding on in his St. Mary's seat.
Tell me what has surprised you.
A surprise is that Anne-Marie Vaz. It's a big surprise. I had Mrs. Vaz in my numbers It's a seat I thought would have won. It's not to be based on what we're seeing so far, but that's a big surprise for me tonight.
Clifford, what's that surprised you?
Manchester Central was a surprise for me. I think that's a seat that we comfortably could have taken. So seeing how well Rhoda played out, that was very much a surprise for me.
Okay. You did that, perhaps you misinterpreted or underestimated the kind of work she's been doing?
Yes. But I think in my head how I had it, or that her I guess win in 2020 was mainly because of how broken the PNP base was at the time. I thought at the time, Donovan may have done the necessary work to mend defenses in that seat. But I guess her being known to be a hard worker is enough to push her, or was enough rather to push her across the line.
Here's Clarendon Southeast, 120 boxes of 144, and we're seeing Pernell Charles Jr., 7,617. Cian Barneswell of the PNP, 6,832. Cian Thomas with 49 votes. And where are we going next? So one of the Charles siblings remains in Parliament. Trelawney, Northern, we still have 5 boxes left. Let me see what you all think about, this is, all right, me and the maths. Tova Hamilton of the JLP, let's stick to the numbers, I can't go wrong reading numbers, 7,894 to the PNP's Wickham McNeil, 7,746. St. Elizabeth Southeastern, 94 out of 109. Franklin Witt of the JLP, 8,220. And Norman Scott of the PNP, 6,176. Raymond Dobbs of the JPP, 39 votes. St. Andrew East Rural, 129 of 137. Juliet Holness, 8,617. Patrick Peterkin, 7,865. Kamisha Hendricks has 46 votes, and Purcell Jackson 38. Purcell, I think. St. James West Central, here we go, haven't seen this for a bit, 80 boxes of 106. The JLP's Marley Malahoo Fort, 4,704. Andre Horton of the PNP, 4,122. Clifford Barnett, 15 votes. And St. Anne Southwestern, 86 boxes of 105. Xavier Main of the JLP, 5,837. Danishka Williams, 4,280. Clive Edwards of the JPP, 30 votes. St. Anne Northwestern, 133 out of 135 boxes. And Crystal Lee of the JLP, 7,971 to Gabriella Morris of the PNP, 7,317. St. Mary's Southeastern, 1 box left here, and Norman Dunn of the JLP, 5,006. Let's start over. Norman Dunn of the JLP, 6,592. Christopher Brown of the PNP, 6,575. Mark Hutchinson, 26.
And that may be the seat I was thinking of in terms of the third candidate. Perhaps his vote making the difference. We don't know which way it might have gone, but it raises that possibility.
Central Kingston as well, because the independent in Central Kingston got 23.
Yes.
And there's a difference between Steve McGregor and Donovan Williams of 12.
Trelawney Southern, 26 boxes of 96. Marissa, I feel like we've been stuck here. Marissa Delvin Philibert, 1,787. Paul Patmore of the PNP, 1,486.
But if we could just pause on the counting, on the numbers a little bit, because, coming into this particular election, what I had and what I've been sharing throughout the night with Clifford are the seats that the PNP had to take back to win the election. Southeast on the screen now is a weather vane seat. It has voted for the winning party for the last 5 elections, and it has given the nod in this instance to Franklin Witter retaining Southeast. I suspect a similar thing is happening in Southwest, which is the other weather vane seat where Floyd Green there is challenged by Miranda Wellington. And I expect the same out of Western St. Mary. We see the results here for Southwest with some boxes to go where Xavier Main is leading Danishka. So I had about 21 seats that the PNP needed to topple tonight if they were going to win. There's Western St. Mary, the other weather vane, completely declared for Robert Montague, even though the polls going into this, some of them showed that he was treading water. So he's beaten hometown boy Omar Woodbine, not by a lot because he's coming from thousands, but he's won it. So against the 21 that I think the PNP needed to take, so far they have taken only 14. So the 14, as good as those are, they don't appear that they will be sufficient for them to win tonight.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going over to Western Hanover where Anthony Lugg is on location.
Thank you so much. So I'm just outside the Watson Taylor Park here in Western Hanover where the counting is still going on over here. I'm now joined by a PNP supporter who is outside here. She's extremely excited. Talk to me about how you're feeling right now.
I'm feeling extremely happy at this time because I know that Western Hanover is going back to the People's National Party. And I know that one by one of Damien Crawford said they are going.
It's still early days yet. The counting has not finished yet, but why is it that you're so confident?
Because of the votes that we already get so far, we know that we are leading. You understand me though? I know that Heather Miller is going to be the winner for Western Hanover tonight.
All right, thank you so much. So as she just said, Heather Miller is going up against the incumbent Tamika Davis of the Jamaica Labour Party. We will be here on the ground. We will be monitoring the situation. It's back to you in studio.
All right, thank you so much, Anthony Lugg, for that. And as you can see, we have our reporters on the ground. And here you're seeing the numbers. This indeed has been called for Heather Miller Bennett of the PNP. Let me see, there's one box left, but the numbers here, 6,969 votes to Tamika Davis's 5,859. Leonard Sharp of the JPP picking up 54 votes. And we're back with West Central. Has this moved? This hasn't moved. This is the Prime Minister's constituency, listeners and viewers, and we've been seeing this result for a little while, so we're, of course, monitoring closely to see where it's going and what's happening here. That's St. Andrew West Central. Just to remind our viewers that we are on radio as well, which is why you hear us reading a lot of the results. This is Clarendon Southeast, 140 boxes of 144, Pernell Charles Jr., 9,207 votes to Sian Barneswell, 7,770. Called no for Pernell Charles officially. Had it been called before?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Okay.
And by the
So
way,
I think which one I haven't seen for a while is that other St. Elizabeth seat. But slowly.
that's Northeast.
Yeah, slowly.
Yes.
slowly
Zuleika won that.
We haven't seen it come
Didn't
up.
Zuleika
Yes.
take that?
Was it declared?
I think so.
It hasn't come up for.
You could declare.
By the way, it's
I
particularly important because of what has happened with the telecom services. Many people are actually listening on radio.
Right.
So it's very important that they get these results.
Yeah.
Here we go. This was with one box left to go, 124 boxes of 125. So the Ika Jess of the PNP, 8,283. So this indeed has been declared for Jess of the PNP over Delroy Slowly of the Jamaica Labour Party, who at this point had polled 7,693. And Myrie of the JPP picked up 20, and Joseph Patterson of the UIC picked up 11 votes.
This is a long-standing PNP seat. This is really just a rebalancing of everything with the anomaly of 2020. This is Kern Spencer, Raymond Price, and then Evan Redmond. This used to be a very strong PNP seat, so no surprises there.
I would say though that I think one of the things we have seen is, I mean, the rebalancing you're speaking of, sure, but at the same time also an indication that the voters can't be taken for granted. No. Look at Northern Trelawney, for instance, where we're seeing this. Has this been declared yet? Okay, Tova Hamilton, 8,062 votes. Wickham McNeil of the PNP, 7,788. So I take your point, Emily, but I also think that we are seeing a new generation of voters, and that seats that previously had been thought safe. I mean, Central Kingston is not going to be in anybody's safe column going forward. Declared now for Tova Hamilton, so Wickham McNeil, having traveled across Western Jamaica, wasn't successful in terms of getting back into Gordon House via Trelawney Northern. And again, this was a PNP seat. This, my point, exactly.
This is a big victory for the Labour Party.
Big victory there, I agree.
Tova Hamilton. She won in 2020, and she's back. She's going back to Parliament, hard-working member of Parliament. I'm very happy for her, just as I'm happy for Rhoda Crawford and many other persons.
Okay, we in fact have Nakinsky Robinson, who is in Trelawney Northern. Let's go to her.
I'm now at the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium in Falmouth, where the counting has been concluded for the Trelawney Northern constituency. And the word that I'm getting from the election officials is that the seat was successfully retained by the incumbent member of parliament who was seeking a second term as MP, Tova Hamilton. Now, she is the first female member of parliament for Trelawney Northern, and she has successfully done so tonight from what we've heard. She was going up against the People's National Party representative, Dr. Wickham McNeil, who is the political juggernaut, who's not new to the scene at all. And so he was seeking redemption because he was unseated when he served as member of parliament for Western Westmoreland in the 2020 general election. We saw very frantic and chaotic scenes here tonight where even one of the Jamaica Labour Party supporters, in the height of their excitement and partying, she passed out and she was rushed to seek medical attention. We've not gotten any word as to her state right now, but we're hoping that she is recovering well. But now the place has been emptied out. The lot is really and truly emptying out right now. As you can see behind me, there's a huge Jamaica Urban Transit Company bus. And just before we started this video, we saw very long lines of traffic emptying out the lot, heading back onto the main road. So the polls have closed, the counting has ended, and it seemed to have been Miss Tova Hamilton from the Jamaica Labour Party who was first past the post tonight.
I think we were talking about the seat, and as I was saying, I think this exactly makes my point. The parties can no longer afford to be complacent and think of seats as, oh, safe PNP or safe JLP seats. And I think that's actually great for the country, great for the constituencies themselves, and overall, as I've been saying, great for democracy.
Yes, I agree.
Quite a few of the young women from the JLP who won in 2020 have been returned in 2025. Right.
Over Hamilton, Rhoda May Crawford,
Crystal Lee.
Okay, here is Juliet Holness's seat now. St. Andrew East Rural, 130 of 137 boxes declared for Juliet Holness. So the former speaker holds on to her seat.
Yes.
If we can spend a moment and try and figure out what is happening in West Central St. Andrew, when it comes up on the screen, I want to see what is going on with the Prime Minister.
Well, I mean, the numbers hadn't moved, so.
Right, but when we get our update, it will move in favor of the Labour Party.
The numbers,
right, so the same.
This is the same, that's what I'm saying. It's been the last 2 or 3 times it's come up, it's been the same. So I suspect the next time we see it, it'll probably be completed.
Yes.
I know a lot of the time, well, I get nothing. I know a lot of the time, the people who are watching the counting.
That is why I'm saying when it's changed the next time, you'll see party leader Dr. Andrew Holness.
What we have here is that Northeastern, or what my side is saying, that Southeastern St. Mary has been called for Norman Dunn. Not Norman Dunn. For Christopher Brown.
Yeah. No,
So-
sorry, you just got yourself in a whole heap of trouble there with your party people. There. No,
right
so,
now,
there it
right
is.
now,
Yeah.
Dr. Dunn is leading. Yeah?
But he hasn't changed from where it was before.
Right. So there's only one box left there, and so you are saying that
You're saying it's been called for.
and that one box has given him.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
That's my understanding as well. By 12, I understand.
Another
Norman
one
Dunn
going
has
to
lost.
magisterial.
On a magisterial recount.
Yes, but we will see.
So whose column was that in for anybody?
That was a mistake for the PNP in my column. They needed to take back Southeast St. Mary. And they have, but again, I said, based on my count, it's still coming up a little short because of, the other areas that have not come fully. Yeah? So,
That's one of those cases, if indeed that win is confirmed, in which the PNP finally managed to take back a seat that has been with the JLP now for several terms. Yes.
two. And they've taken as well the Southeast St. Catherine with Dr. Alfred Dawes. That is also a big win. Robert Miller losing there, I think we already showed that. But again, when they didn't manage to wrestle Central Manchester from Rhoda Moy, that's a big, really big win or hold for the Jamaica Labour Party. So you do take one there, but then you don't take the other, and the numbers just don't add up. Yeah. Marlene Malahoo Fort as well in West Central St. James. I think you were hoping to take that one.
Yes.
You may come up just a little short with that one, even though it's not yet officially completed in terms of counting, but we shall see.
Okay, let's just since you mentioned that, this is the latest we have from West Central St. James, 82 boxes of 106. The JLP's Marlene Malahoo Fort with 4,788. The JLP's Andre Horton 4,192. Clifford Barnett 15 votes. We'll go to a break. We're back with our live election show in just a moment.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we're putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman's Got Talent.
When the world quiets down and the noise of the day fades away, that's when the real conversations begin. The ones we hide, the ones we fear, the ones that need to be heard. Conversations After Dark with Mario, where the silence ends and truth begins. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m., Mario takes you on a journey through the real, raw, and rarely spoken truths that shape our lives. From personal battles to family struggles, community wounds to silent traumas. No topic is too taboo, no story too deep. It's not just talk, it's healing. This is a space where shame is shattered, silence is broken, and truth finally speaks. Conversations After Dark with Mario, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. only on Flashpoint Radio, www.flashpointmedia.ky. Stay up, speak up, heal forward.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
First, Mario After Dark comes up every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock in the PM, and of course tonight we are, definitely taking a back seat on that one for the purpose of the election in Jamaica, and we are definitely staying true to that this evening. Of course, Mario begs to give an apology for the program tonight in light of our election going on. So this is what we are doing for this evening. Election 2025 in Jamaica. I spoke to Karen, and Karen said that she's playing Ludi and watching the election. And so as we get back into the highlights of the election, I'm in the studios of Flashpoint Steven, and we're going to be joining a few friends in a little bit, and we talk some more about what's happening. Let's see.
General elections in Jamaica. So let's just take a moment and bring you up to date with everything that's been going on. I'm your host, Dion Jackson Miller, and with me, Earl Moxham and Emily Shields from the RJR Gleaner Communications Group. Also with us, we have Ron Walsh. He is from Young Jamaica, an affiliate of the Jamaica Labour Party. Clifford James with us as well, from the PNP-YO, the youth arm of the People's National Party. Jamaica's parliament has 63 seats. Now, in the last election, 2020, the Jamaica Labour Party had won with a landslide, relegating the PNP to only 14 seats. So in this election, which party would get 32 seats first and would therefore form the government? And the last count we had got from our reporter who is at the electoral office tracking was 34 seats for the, here we go with the national count. Now, I think these are the declared seats, the completed seats, if I'm correct. 29 for the JLP and 28 for the PNP. The last count we had got, though, in terms of how all the seats were trending, was that the Jamaica Labour Party was leading, we had been told, in 34 seats, and the PNP leading in 29. So there are a few critical seats that we have still been watching. And here we have St. Mary's South East. And the PNP's Christopher Brown has taken this with 6,642. He has defeated the incumbent Jamaica Labour Party's Norman Dunn, 6,631. And that is an 11 vote difference. Yes. Got it right that time.
Well, pause on that because
just one second. Mark Hutchinson of the JPP polled 26 votes.
I'm almost sure this is the second time for an 11 vote win in St. Mary Southeastern. Didn't Dr. Winston Green win by 11 over by the same Dr. Norman Dunn before? So this is interesting. We'll also head to a magisterial recount, but on the night, each of them having the 49.9%, but just split by 11 votes.
All right, we're still stuck on this, but just to remind our listeners as well, the count that takes place on election night is a preliminary count. Now, after tonight, then we will have what is called the final count. At the end of the final count, the parties then have the opportunity or the chance, if they wish, to apply for what is called a magisterial recount, which a parish judge would do. Normally you do that when you have a very, very small margin, and I was saying a little bit early on in the evening, a margin of 200 votes or 100 might sound like a very small margin, but you're not going to get that overturned in the magisterial recount. That is when now the parties are going to scrutinize, and the judge would scrutinize every single ballot, and you start to get arguing over where this X was marked, and if this ballot was invalid, and if this one was discarded and should not have been discarded. So there is a process that is going to be put in train as soon as tonight's preliminary counts are over. Here we have Trelawney Southern now, box 44 of 96, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert with 2,823 votes, and the PNP's candidate Paul Patmore 2,608 votes. Just a reminder for our viewers, for our listeners, you'll hear me, all of us, we're here reading out the counts. That is because we are live on not just radio, but also not just TV, not just the internet, but also radio. So we are accommodating our radio listeners as well. And we thank you all so much for being here with us, wherever it is in the world you are joining us from. We know we have a huge following in the diaspora. We're happy to have you here with us as well. So that one, that still looks like only about 50% gone there. And I know we had heard that Paul Patmore was
likely to do well.
Yes, yes, but we'll see what happens when the final numbers come in there. So I would ask you, Earl, is there anything that has surprised you so far?
No, I expected it to be very close,
yes,
and therefore I'm not surprised at how close it has turned out to be. I think for many persons, the fact that with 18 boxes left in West Central St. Andrew, that the Prime Minister is, at least by what we have seen, trailing at the moment. But there are still 18 boxes to go, so he could very well, bring it home still.
One of the things our listeners and viewers will have heard throughout the night is you will hear one of the panelists saying something like, it depends where the boxes are coming from. So in other words, you might have one candidate leading in a particular constituency, but if the boxes left to come in are coming from a stronghold of the other party, then you could see that result turned inside out. And that's basically what it is we're kind of seeing happening throughout the night. Sometimes you see the seesawing of the votes going between the two candidates. A lot of the times that's what's taking place. Yeah. Okay, so now the issue in relation to what happens as soon as this is over, as we've said, the party that is declared the victor, we're going to be declared the victor. We're going to expect to hear, because of course, viewers and listeners, we are going to be with you until the end. So we are going to be waiting to hear whoever gives their victory speech, whoever gives their concession speech. And we were talking the other night, Earl, about a night, in fact, when there was no concession speech.
Yes, and that was 2007. I think it was 2007. It was that close, and Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller did not concede that night. They were awaiting some recounts, but by the next day it was clear that the JLP had won.
Just as though the JLP will win tonight again. So
well,
So do y'all actually prepare two speeches? We're here, you have to have two speeches, or our people just come out and talk?
Well, I wouldn't know, but I'm sure that the leader of the Labour Party would have prepared one speech, because from the get-go it was clear that Jamaicans would choose Jamaica, and we're seeing it tonight.
Okay, you never stop. You don't stop. You don't stop. Clifford, come.
I'm just curious, are they choosing Jamaica? Because from what I'm seeing, the PNP has gained massive ground in this election, regardless of who becomes the Prime Minister. I think that's one thing that the PNP should tap on his shoulder.
This is a sport, right? This is a sport. You have to have a winner, you have to have a loser. Tonight, you're the loser.
And clearly, the most honourable Andrew Holness would not be the winner in this situation. Well,
of course, he's leading the Labour Party to victory.
St. Anne Southwest declared for Xavier Main, and we previously declared the previous seat, which kind of went fast.
Crystal Lee.
And Danishka. Right, declared
Danishka Williams.
There we go, declared for Crystal Lee of the Jamaica Labour Party. 8,050 votes to 7,488 for Gabriela Morris of the People's National Party.
Right.
Gabriela Morris had been a senator, throwing her hat here into the representational ring. So coming up short this time around.
This means there's no change at all in St. Anne. The PNP went in with Southeast, which is their bastion. They've held that. This is Lisa Hannah's seat, Foggy Mullins' old seat, crucial to the PNP base. Northeast St. Anne, which is Shahini Robinson's old seat, has been held by Matthew Samuda. St. Anne Northwest, Crystal Lee won that in 2020 and she has retained it, fought off the challenge by Gabriela Morris. And then St. Anne Southwest, that's the Xavier Main seat that he has also held, that particular one. So there's no change between 2020 and 2025 in St. Anne.
So here's a question now. So let's assume
All right, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulties right there. Of course, we're going to join in. All right,
and the party.
Let's get back to the information as we have a little bit of technical difficulty just now, but we're going to get back to the panel in Jamaica.
I keep saying that 2020 was an electoral anomaly. It still is in many respects. So that what has emerged from 2020 is that the people are willing to re-elect a very hard-working member of parliament, even if that member of parliament started out as an anomaly in 2020, but they've continued to doing good work. So I say this, so I believe Rhoda Moore Crawford, I believe Crystal Lee, and Tova Hamilton, who had some issues, she has clearly rebalanced them. And perhaps it is setting a new sort of trend. If we look at it that way, then perhaps for Mark Golding and the PNP, they shouldn't be so swift to seek to discard him, because they're coming from a point where Dr. Peter Phillips was perhaps deemed to be an individual who could not take the PNP to where the PNP is at this time.
And a lot of people hadn't thought Golding would be able to cross the line at all.
Right.
Can I just jump in on you and say that I'm hearing that the official voter turnout has come in at 38.8%, which is bad.
That is 1% above the COVID years.
Yes.
And I certainly, based on the crowds I saw and the anticipation, I thought we were heading to a 55% voter turnout. So I don't know what has gone wrong, why so many people have not, but that is something we said we should study again, as we said at the start of the program.
Yeah. May I take you back to the question of Mark Golding's future in the PNP as leader? We have got to the point now where, so he's 60 this year. If they go to the full term, this incoming administration, he would then be 65.
Mm-hmm.
I think more and more voters are not looking too kindly in the Jamaican context at someone taking the reins of government heading towards 70.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might, despite what I said earlier, it may be one of the things that they will consider when deciding whether to stick with the leader or seek a younger person to take them forward.
We're going back to EOJ now with Kalisha.
Thank you so much, Dion. So we're almost there. 99% of all the boxes counted. And what I'm seeing behind me, the latest figure just refreshed, the People's National Party leading in 30 constituencies, the Jamaica Labour Party leading in 33. Now I'm going to tell you the areas where we're still waiting on all the boxes to be completed. St. Andrew West Central, 83%. The People's National Party leading in that area. Going down now to St. Andrew East Rural, the St. Andrew East Rural, where the Jamaica Labour Party is leading in that constituency. Trelawney Southern, 78% of all boxes counted, and the Jamaica Labour Party is leading in that constituency. Moving over now to Clarendon Northern, 97% of all the boxes counted, and we're seeing where the Jamaica Labour Party, is trailing in that constituency in Clarendon Northern. We're going down, I think that is it in terms of the progress report for all the constituencies so far. So we're waiting just on a few more constituencies to go. We're seeing where Trelawney Southern, that's the one where we're having only 70%, just over 70% of all the boxes counted in that constituency as well, Dion. So, we're seeing another change, Dion. I tell you, the things can change quite quickly here at the ECJ. I'm seeing now where the Jamaica Labour Party is leading in 34 constituencies, and the People's National Party is leading in 29 constituencies. And as I said, we're almost at the finish line. It's back to you.
Thank you so much, Kalisha. Great work that you have been doing for us throughout the night. And as you're saying, the just about an inch there from the finish line. So the whole issue now, in terms of the extremely close seats, I think it's 2 we've seen.
Yes, 2 so far.
Yeah.
The Central Kingston and the Southeast St. Mary, which is, I mean, there have been elections where we've seen quite a few more that have been very, very close. But we were talking there about the voter turnout because, again, this suggests that neither party is exciting the electorate beyond your narrow base. Mm-hmm. If we can't even get to 4 out of 10 registered voters deciding to come out to vote. So I'm not sure where that leaves us or where we're going with this project we call democracy.
By the way, despite all that has been said tonight about the individual performances of MPs, one wonders what impact the last-minute promises in terms of various forms of tax relief, etc., might have had on the votes in some of these constituencies where, somebody's decision to go, for example, for the promise of minimum wage increase, or go for the pension, or go for the 3.5.
Because one of the things I've been saying, in fact, is that the polling numbers that we had been getting, when I looked at the dates that the pollsters were in the field, so many things happened after that.
So it wasn't tracking with those.
Yeah, in terms of debates, in terms of the announcement, in terms of the, even the manifestos in some cases being released and what was happening. So I always felt that those poll numbers weren't going to give us a really indicative sense. But as Don said, his polls had indicated that we were going to see a close election, and indeed we've seen that. Yeah. And I think there's been a lot of attempts to try and discredit the RGR Gleaner done and some polls, and I think what we're seeing here from this election is that they were tracking.
Yeah, well, it was always going to be a close election in my view, and I think the context is so important. This is the first time ever that a Jamaica Labour Party government is facing the possibility of a third term in office. And on top of that, all of the challenges...
Hold on, Emily. Here's an update. 93 boxes of 105 in the Prime Minister's constituency. He's now ahead here. 5,387 votes to Paul Buchanan of the PNP, 4,904. So 93 boxes, so that is 5 and 7, which is 12 boxes left to count.
Disciples.
Never endorse.
No, I can visualize Desmond McKenzie wiping the Prime Minister's face with the change in the set, because that must have been a moment. Paul Buchanan did say he's going to unseat Andrew Holness, and he has come pretty close, but things are changing. Yeah. Trelawney South, I think we had a look at that before.
Declared.
No, it's declared.
Yes.
So it has reverted to the norm.
That
In
was
terms of
expected.
expectations.
That is Marissa Dalrymple Philibert. She walked out the parliament, she resigned, she went back, she won the seat in a by-election. They call her Mama down there for good reasons, Mama D, and she's back.
She has delivered
Yes.
once again.
But I'm saying the context of this election is that it's an historical first for the JLP, and there is a third term syndrome. As we look at West Central, St. James, where Marlene Malahoo Fort is leading with 91 of 106 boxes there. She's leading Dr. Andre Horton, 5,157 to 4,710 for Andre. So you're battling that third term syndrome, and for all of the kitchen sink and so forth that has been thrown at Andrew Holness and the Jamaica Labour Party, one really shouldn't be able to recover from that and to even win a third term with all of those conditions prevailing. So I think when the history books are written, there are a lot of pluses that have to go to the JLP, a lot of pluses too to Mark Golding for bringing back the PNP from near virtual electoral dead to making them reclaim some of the seats that they lost in 2020.
I think we're seeing live pictures here of the JLP headquarters.
Yes.
So we're waiting to go back to the headquarters and to hear what's happening. Of course, as soon as the various leaders are ready to speak, we'll have that live for you as well.
And by the way, if indeed the turnout for this election is only 1% above 2020, it also says something about the significance of the PNP's move from 14 seats last time to 29 or thereabouts this time. It would seem, therefore, that the PNP has recovered a significant portion of the vote.
Because when you looked at the numbers, between 2016 and 2020, yes, the voting was down and people are saying COVID and so on. But when you looked at the actual numbers, the PNP had lost 127,000 voters. The JLP had lost only about 28,000.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, there were some constituencies in which the JLP actually managed to increase its vote count. Is this the same number or it gone
No,
up?
it has gone up.
97
Yes.
votes, 97 boxes here out of 105. Andrew Holness of the JLP, 5,989. Paul Buchanan of the PNP, 4,923.
Right. And I think a story will have to be told as well about this comeuppance with the 3rd of September. Because it was the 3rd of September 2007.
Yes.
3rd of September 16?
16, yes.
2020? 2020 rather.
2020.
And now the 3rd of September 2025, which is the first.
And we get ourselves into a cycle where every 3rd of September
is probably, we're talking fixed election day, but it will be the 3/3 of September for the first third term for the JLP.
Just to say the seat has now been declared for Prime Minister Andrew.
As expected, as expected.
You did say that.
Very good run, Mr. Buchanan. Very good run, Paul Buchanan. You did promise you'd beat Andrew Holness, and you came pretty close to that, because I didn't even look at West Central in my calculation because I thought it was a done deal. But he's done well. Yeah?
Clifford, you ready to concede it? There has to be a point.
I think regardless of who becomes the Prime Minister,
Okay.
who walks into
That's a yes.
Gordon House as government, the PNP has done amazing tonight in many different ways. Coming from where we were at with 14, with our broken base, the part that was in ruins. I think Mark Golding and Dayton Campbell has done well in bringing back the party and has represented what the PNP is to the Jamaican people, and has sold the PNP to many people as well. Because as I said before, the whole country in general has signaled that they want some sort of change, whether it is from the MP level or whether it's from the national level. They want to see some sort of change.
But still with only 38% of the vote.
There are various accounts for that, like the mishap with today and the growing trend of voter apathy. But in general, people want to see some level of change.
I think what the Jamaican people want is to continue with the Labour Party. When you look at what has happened since 2016 until
Sorry, hold on. The voter turnout doesn't support that, you know. Because what you have is, do the maths, 62% of registered voters who never came out at all. Right. So that's it's 3 out of 4 registered voters came out. 6 out of 10 didn't come out. Now, when I did the math in 2020, when we had about the same voter turnout, when you actually looked at how many people had voted for the party in power, which is a JLP, it was actually only 20% of registered voters. So because the voter turnout is so low, you're essentially a minority government in terms of support from the voting public as a whole. So it's one thing to say, yes, we won, but surely it must be sobering. So that's why I'm taking issue with you saying this is what the people wanted, because in fact it's a minority who have put you into power. I know it's winner takes all and first past the post.
I agree, but at the same time it is the persons who come out to vote. Yes. So what we have.
No, stop right there. That's the point, you know. Listen to what you just said. The persons who came out to vote, most people didn't. So what that means is that those most people didn't want either of you. So what does that say about how you relate to them and how you relate to the country?
And that's where I'm going.
Okay.
To. I think that is what we have to do as political parties. You know, we have to engage. We have to find new strategies to engage the Jamaican people, and that is something that we, as political parties in the country, will have to start to look at, because it cannot continue at 37. I think it was about 37 point something last election, and now it's at 38.
We don't have the COVID excuse again. 37.8.
In 1993, I believe it was 60%, thereabout. So it
60.28.
60.28. So,
but in all fairness, Ron, I don't know what can be done to get people out. If people were not electrified for this election,
hold a stick up in for me. Let's go over to the JLP headquarters. Andrew is on location.
The government at the time.
Thank you very much, Dion. The mood here at the JLP headquarters shifted a bit earlier when they saw the numbers of Paul Padmore in the Prime Minister's constituency when he was leading a bit. So the numbers shifted a bit. I'm going to speak to this supporter. When you saw the numbers shifted for the Prime Minister's constituency, what was going through your mind?
I mean, I wasn't devastated by that. If you recall the last election, when the count started for the Prime Minister's seat, he was also trailing. So if you look at the historic count of that seat, you see that the Prime Minister is always trailing, and then in the end, he became victorious. So tonight was no different for me, because I understood what happened. It's not my first time in an election. So while he was trailing, I knew that in the end, the Prime Minister would come home. He is our 1 PM, he is our brogan, he is the helm of the Jamaica Labour Party. So there could not be a third term without Andrew Holness. So once we knew that we were winning the third term, Andrew Holness had to win his seat.
Were you always a JLP supporter?
Yeah, well, from the time I started following politics, I became a JLP supporter because I vote based on policies and not family lines and traditions. So I'm not a die-hearted comrade or a die-hearted JLP. I vote based on policies and the history of Jamaica's politics as well. So the JLP has always been better in terms of managing the economy. The JLP is founded out of a need to support the working class. I'm a working class. I'm looking forward to climb that corporate ladder. And the JLP has statistically in history done better for working class and for the economy. So I had to support the JLP.
Right, and very quickly before we go, because we got so excited to talk, I forget to ask you your name and which constituency you voted in.
So my name is Ramon Gladshaw, and I voted in Eastern St. Catherine. It's not PNP selfie, but I still exercise my right to vote.
Thank you so much. And as you can see, Dion, the party-like atmosphere has started again here at Belmont Road, and we'll check in with you later.
Thank you so much, Andrew. So let me just go back to the voter turnout issue and give our listeners and our viewers a sense of where we're coming from. Just to remind you, you're watching TVJ's live coverage of the 2025 general election. I'm Dion Jackson Miller. Thank you all so much for staying with us across the platforms, on radio, on TV, on YouTube, on onespotmedia.com. Those of you here at home and those of you abroad, we are happy to have had you, and we hope you continue to us.
All right, so as we experience the TVJ's narrative and their journalism skills being exhibited this evening, Lady Elise, I will say to you that we are thankful for them for bringing this one live for us, that we can even be a part of the whole process. So we thank TVJ for bringing this one, and of course, we could have brought it for our people right across the Cayman Islands, and of course other places across the world that they listen to Flashpoint as well. So yes.
Before we pause, saying she's not sure what else we can do. But Emily, my view has always been, I have never thought that the two major parties have seriously tried to attract anybody other than their base. When you even look at the campaigning, what is the campaigning? It's under the point, orange and green and make noise on the campaign trail. It's fun to watch. It really is. But for people who are not inclined to join in the carnival and the singing of the songs and whatever, and want serious engagement, what's that?
Carnival of the absurd.
For people who are not looking for that, I have not seen either party making any serious attempt to pull in everybody else.
But let me try and respond to it. I don't know the answer to all of that, but the numbers can't be quoted in a vacuum. When we were at 1997 with 65.22%, there was 1.1 million voters on the list. In 2002 with 59.4, there was 1.3 million. In 2007 with 61.4, there was 1.336 million. For whatever reason, in 2016, we jumped to 1.8 million people on this voters list. 1.8 million in a population of approximately 3 million. And in September 2020, we're at 1.9. This election, we're at 2.07. Where so much people come from on the list when we have 3 million people in Jamaica? Is the list completely clean of dead people? And are there dead people on the list who can't make it? And so the voter turnout will never be larger than it is, because we have a ballooning list for hundreds of thousands of people that we need to double check. I don't understand it. And the reason I'm asking this question tonight is because I have been watching elections since 1980. This is the first election. I'm seeing such fervor and energy. Every man and them dog. Every animal in the house energized.
Hold the man and the dog for me. Let's just go to the break. I'm told the updated voter turnout figure, 39.33%. 39.33%, and we're back right after this.
All right, so I'm thinking this, it has been a very interesting election. And we are looking at the voter turnout, as you're saying, is very low, but the amount of persons registered for the voting is very high, right? Having said that, we could hear a while ago the narrative of the young lady
on the list,
the dead people on the list and stuff like that. It's one of the very many things that we, many times people would go for to say in a time when you have lost the election or something to that effect, that dead people were voting, which at some point I think that they had identified something to that sort. I don't know, so I won't be confirming that. Yes. But what was interesting was that the Labour Party won the election for the first time in the history. But has the PNP ever won the election 3 times except for once since 1992, 2000, and when did they lose the election? 2000.
No, but it has not been yet declared. I mean, I know the seats standing now are 34 seats for the JLP and 29 for the PNP. And of course, it has been a close election.
Well,
almost a nail-biting finish.
Well, I can tell you, it is definitely a declared win for the JLP this time around, ladies, because the seats that are declared already and the counting, the ballots that are left to be counted on some of those seats can't
Yeah.
amount to actually win the election because you have 34 to 29 seats for the PNP, 29 seats for the PNP, 24 for the GLP at this time. And the amount of ballots in some of those boxes that needs to be counted will not be able to actually swing those voting rights in the favor of some of those persons who are contesting the election.
I'm now looking at the areas, West and Central, Dwayne Paz for the PNP winning with 9,960 votes, and this one has been declared. Of course, the George Wright with 8,385. That's in Westmoreland Central. Over in Westmoreland Western, Ian Hales, of course, has taken that seat as well as declared 7,992 votes versus Dr. Garth Jenkins with 6,024 for the JP. So Westmoreland has become orange, which has been a traditional PNP constituency. And we go over to Eastern Canada, where Andrea Perkins has taken her seat. This seat has already been declared with 5,905 votes. Of course, winning Dave Brown with 5,138 votes.
Right,
So,
yeah. It's happening. We are standing by for the election, for the Prime Minister's speech that will be coming up shortly. And so we'll be joining the people back in Jamaica, our friends in Jamaica, once again to actually bring those highlights to you. But at least, you know, when I think about all the many things that went on in this election, nobody believes that the PNP would have even had a chance in the election to actually make such a brazen move to actually reclaim so many seats back in Parliament, and now is what you call a contender opposition for the people of for the democracy of Jamaica at this time. You know, so you need strong opposition to keep governments in check, and so here we have the PNP, which Mark Golding, led by the Mark Golding, who nobody thought that he could have been the one who would have brought the PNP back from its state of what you call certain debt. For many persons, they say that the PNP would never be able to come back, but Mark Golding proved everybody wrong. And I'm telling you, they almost got this election. They almost won the election. And I want to say kudos to the PNP for the many efforts that they have made and of course the strides that they have made from such a very dismal position in the history of our politics in Jamaica at this time. So yeah, I'm going to just give, you know, hats off for the PNP who made a good try for the seat, winning the seat. Of course, many of my friends who have actually gone to Jamaica and leave many places across the diaspora to go to Jamaica to vote. Many persons said that the question was asked on the breakfast hour this morning. We asked the question. And of course, remember, you're listening to Flashpoint also on our web radio at www.flashpointmedia.ky right across the globe. Right now, you can listen to us at any point. And so we are bringing this one live for you right here in the Grand Cayman Islands, ladies. And so the question we asked this morning was, should persons in the diaspora actually be a part of the voting rights of the Jamaica people, or the context of Jamaica, to swing the votes whether right or left for that? You know, and this is a big question. You know, many persons says no, and many people say yes.
You know, it has a lot to do with how you ask the question. Like if you ask to swing, right? And if I should consider the question in another perspective, to influence, to make their voices heard, because a lot of Jamaicans who live outside of Jamaica still call Jamaica home, and they still look forward to go back to Jamaica. And so therefore their voices count. They still have assets, they still conduct business, they still have family members there. So it's not necessarily to swing the vote, but also to make an input
Yes.
or contribution into the decision and the direction of the country that they call home.
Well, I listened to the comments that were made by one of our commentators on the panel just now, and she was talking about the idea of persons who came out to vote, and that Jamaica didn't really speak to the amount of persons who came out to vote. It is an indictment on the political parties that the people are rejecting both parties in a lot of ways. But then
the increase after COVID.
It's a 1% increase. 1% increase after COVID, that is in 2020, that they are actually having.
People suffer from what they call voter apathy, where they believe that their vote doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference.
Yes.
And so they are not pushing out as much to make their voices heard because they don't feel as if their vote will make
matter. Well, some persons though, ladies would say, if I vote, it don't matter one way or the next. I'm not voting for none of them because whether I vote for this one or that one, the same thing is going to happen. And many persons have that conversation, that argument to present whenever they are posed with a question to be answered, right? But here's we are wanted to answer based on the comment made by one of our panelists on the program just now, while we are here live in the studio of Flashpoint. I want to say that she said earlier that the persons who voted did not necessarily wanted the government. But the thing is, the argument must be made that the people who actually voted are the ones who actually made the decision to come out and vote. So they are the ones who wanted a government. Those who didn't vote didn't decide to make a choice to have a voice. All right, we're going to be joining the voting, the celebration once now. And so I'm going to join the feed now so we can get some more updates.
Okay, so you're watching there a live feed from PNP headquarters. You can see that the president of the PNP, Mark Jefferson Golding, is getting ready to speak. As soon as he starts to speak, we'll go back. Let me just remind you, you're watching TVJ's live coverage of the 2025 elections. And with me all night, I've had from the RJR Gleaner Group, Emily Shields, as well as Earl Moxham. And with us as well from the PNP YO, we've had Clifford James and Ron Walsh from Young Jamaica, the affiliate. Let's go over to PNP headquarters.
Comrade General Secretary, comrade officers, all the comrades on the platform, all the comrades in the audience, all the people of Jamaica who are listening, watching. First of all, I think it's my duty as a believer in democracy to acknowledge and concede the result and to congratulate our opponents, the Jamaica Labour Party, for their victory tonight. Jamaica's democracy is important and we must cherish it. Sometimes it brings bitter disappointments. Sometimes those disappointments are laced with a tinge of a sense that not all is fair and just, but it is very, very important that we put democracy ahead of all of those feelings. And I accept the result of these elections, and although obviously I'm very disappointed in the outcome, I think it is only correct to expressly acknowledge the success that our opponents have managed to gain today. I want to thank a lot of people. And first of all, I have to thank the comrades and supporters of South St. Andrew for for standing with me, for coming out today in their numbers, and for giving us a decisive victory in the constituency which I have the honor to serve. I also want to thank our campaign team, led by our campaign director, our General Secretary, Dayton Campbell, Dr. Dayton Campbell. Also, a newly minted Member of Parliament, congratulations to him on his victory in East and Westmoreland, and all the other members of the campaign team who worked with him. There are a number of names there. I don't want to attempt to go through all those names because I'm going to probably forget somebody and then I'll regret it. But they have done a tremendous job. The communications team, I want to thank them publicly for the work they have done. And that is a night and day kind of job. Starts very early in the morning and goes on till late at night. So their commitment to the task at hand is remarkable, and I want to thank them deeply for it. All of our candidates who ran in this election and their campaign teams, I want to thank them for their effort, for their commitment to the country, to the democratic process. I want to, of course, congratulate the 29 who have been successful tonight, and we have more than doubled our number of MPs tonight. And for those who were not first and didn't, they still committed themselves extremely well. And I want to say that this was a wonderful demonstration of the maturity of Jamaica's political process, that we could go through such a closely fought election without any violence to speak of. And we must all give ourselves a round of applause. In our homes, if you're listening, here at the PNP headquarters, because that was not always the case. And I want to just thank all of the pioneers who led that process to where it is today, where I think we can safely say that Jamaica is a place that really cherishes and respects the democracy that we have built. I want to thank the people of Jamaica for having received us so well and having given us hundreds of thousands of votes and given us 29 seats. We don't take that for granted. We thank you for your time today. I know the voting was often painfully slow, and that's an issue which more will have to be said about, because it's an undemocratic situation when people, elderly and other people, have to be in the hot sun lining up to vote for sometimes hours, and it should not be that way. We should do better, and we have to do better. I must tell you that I'm proud of the platform that we put forward for the people of Jamaica. It was a truly progressive platform, a platform that offered a radical reform to the land tenure issues that have plagued this country for centuries. A radical platform that would have enhanced the standard of living and quality of life of those working families that are struggling to survive now by giving them significantly lower tax burdens on their income. Progressive in a social justice sense as well, around issues such as beach reform, contract work, and other things which really need to be addressed, because there are injustices in our society which cannot be tolerated and should be modified and rejected in their current form. So I just want to thank all of the team that came together and developed those ideas and put them forward boldly and without reticence. And I think that for many Jamaicans, they saw the benefits and the power that that platform and those ideas and proposals would have delivered. So ladies and gentlemen, for us it's a difficult night. This is not an easy speech to make. One doesn't want to one wasn't hoping for a result which is not success. And it means that the government will get its third term, and we will have as a nation to deal with that going forward. But the People's National Party, I'm happy to tell you, is alive and well, is a powerful political organization. And has embraced modernity in its methods, and has definitely, I think, over the last few years, come a long way towards being a competitive political force in Jamaica. And as the General Secretary said, the work begins right away to prepare ourselves for the next opportunity to offer ourselves to serve the nation in government. And I believe the people will, in due course, give us that chance. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, the word is love. Power to the people. God bless you all. Thank you for your support.
Listening there to the President of the People's National Party, Mark Golding, giving his concession speech. The final seat count, 34 seats to the Jamaica Labour Party, 29. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that in case I mislead anyone. Just to remind everybody that what has been done tonight is a preliminary count. So the seat count at the end of the preliminary count is 34 for the Jamaica Labour Party, 29 for the People's National Party. The final count is going to take place, and then we're expecting, certainly in at least those two constituencies in which we saw razor thin margins of about 11 and 12 votes, we are expecting those to go to magisterial recount, and then we'll see what happens after that. We are seeing on screen the Prime Minister at JLP headquarters, seeing there a jubilant Desmond McKenzie on the mic as well, seeing Delroy Chuck, and we will be handing over to the JLP headquarters soon as well. Babsy Grange, and you can Horace Chang, I saw Kamina Johnson Smith there as well. And
we're witnessing for the first time in contested elections a Jamaica Labour Party government that is having a third term. They had 2 terms between 1980 and 1983 was uncontested, and they faced the possibility of a third term in 1989, but 83 being uncontested. This is the first contested third consecutive term that they have won, and this says something about the organization as well, with all of the challenges that this particular man had, and all that he was made to answer for, some of which will continue after this election, and no doubt intensify because of the increased numbers on the opposition benches in the House of Parliament. So it does promise to be an interesting parliamentary year.
There's something else very interesting to the Andrew Holness story. In addition to getting a third successive term as Prime Minister, he also had that very small term from October 23, 2011 to
29th of December.
Actually to the 5th of January when he handed off to Portia Simpson Miller.
Just to remind our listeners and viewers, what Earl is referring to there is the fact that Bruce Golding, former Prime Minister, stepped down as Prime Minister. Andrew Holness was elected Prime Minister by his colleagues in Parliament.
By agreement, yes.
Yes, I was trying to find the right word. Thank you so much, Emily. By his colleagues in Parliament, and on that occasion he gave in to the call from the People's National Party to call an early election, which he lost, but he certainly in the meantime regrouped. And you could see his political growth during that time in opposition.
And had he not survived that challenge in 2013,
we're just having this conversation in the background, and we're listening to our commentators in Jamaica as we, right now, ladies, has been, we've been watching this election tonight, and I tell you, I don't know what's your take on it, but I'll go to the Jamaica third term in Parliament, and that I would ask you a question. Have the PNP had more than 3 terms, or is it that both parties now have equalized in having? PNP had a 3-term advantage at some point?
Well, what I know I'm looking at is a historic moment for the JLP, and I can see the excitement, their hard work. But certainly, when I consider the results of the last election, which I am looking at now, I would have said that the PNP has certainly come a long way. Looking at the results from 2020, I'm seeing here where the JLP won by 49 seats to the PNP 14 seats. Now, presently in 2025, this is the preliminary count that we are being reminded that there will be magisterial recounts in some constituencies. Now, the JLP winning by 34 seats and the PNP 29 seats. That is double what this certainly they have made an impact this election, and I say congratulations. The concession speech by Mark Golden, certainly he said it's a tough speech to make.
Not an easy one. It's not easy to make a speech like that.
Easy one, because I
No.
know they would have put a lot of effort and energy thus far, but certainly this is not the end. This signals a really giant step, and I have to say congratulations to them because they have acquired much more seats than they did in the previous election.
All right, so I'm going to go back to the commentators in the studio in Jamaica and to listen some more on what they're saying.
What we should do now is not to go back to where it was in that 2016 timeout that we had lost then. I think now we should work on where we're at and just move forward.
Well, the party hasn't shown that it can manage leadership challenges very well, though. I mean, the last is what, 3? Just ripped you apart.
So that's something I hope we have learned. And I'm now going to apply, a different metric of how we take on successions, if there's any, or if any is even required at this point in time.
Okay. But you feel how?
This is how I feel.
How you feel?
Currently now?
Yeah.
I feel good. We have moved from 14 to 29 seats.
Okay. Mr. Golding's concession speech earlier is always something that's important.
Very important. I think he struck some right notes. It was a bruising campaign, and hard words were exchanged, and so I think it will take time for some sort of cooling of some of the feelings between the two parties and the two leaders. But he did what was expected of him under these circumstances, and it is in keeping with Jamaica's democratic traditions that we do that. In fact, we have done better than the United States sometimes in that respect.
All right, so we're still waiting to join the Prime Minister to hear his victory speech, but let's go to another break. We'll soon come.
Lady Elisa, we're looking at some of the events that has unfolded during this election, and I'm telling you, not to say the least, we have come a far way as a people. The victory speech from the Prime Minister is not yet said or done, and so we are now awaiting that victory speech from Jamaica. And so while we are here this evening, I just wanted to highlight the idea that we're talking about the third term for the JLP as a political party. I remember when the PNP won the election 3 times in a row, and it was a big win for the PNP. I think on the JLP side, this seems as if it's a trophy. This is not just an election, but a trophy election for the JLP. Do you see it as such, Lady Elise? As I was saying, I was thinking that this election. All right, so let me recap what I just said earlier. I think you weren't actually hearing me just now. But I was saying that for the third term, the PNP actually won the election for 3 terms at some point, and the Laborites never did that, and so now the Laborites are actually winning the election for the third term.
The greatest prime
All right, here goes.
In the Western Hemisphere. We have a right. I'm going to invite from Central St. Catherine, Babsy, Olivia, Ray.
JLP is in high spirit this evening, ladies.
I just want to say to all of you, I thank you for demonstrating that you have faith in our leader, the most honorable and the wholeness. I want to thank you for showing that you have faith in the members of parliament of the Jamaica Labour Party and those who have committed themselves to serve you. I want to especially thank my people in Central St. Catherine, in Spanish Town. And I want to thank those who don't belong to the Labour Party, who voted for the Jamaica Labour Party. I want to say to all of you in Jamaica that the Jamaican people know what they want and they know what is good for Jamaica. And that is why we have been given the third term. And your lives will be better because we are going to be doing that much more for you. I want you to just pray that God give the leader the strength, the wisdom, and the stamina to continue to serve Jamaica and fight for Jamaica. Love your man and cook food. Love you all. God bless you all. And God bless Jamaica, land we love.
Thank you. Coming up, the 7-star General of Area Council 1, Delroy Chuck.
You know, Delroy Chuck has been one of those politicians that has stood out in the whole of Jamaica for many, many years. And it's one of the politicians for me who, when I'm hearing him now, his speech, it seems as if his microphone is cut, the audio is cut from the stage. But but he's one of those persons who, for me, has been a stalwart for democracy in Jamaica, and I have great respect for him. I don't know why, but I just seem to one of the many persons. Of course, I would have looked across the PNP side of the fence, and I could speak of many others on that side. There was a gentleman who held the rank of Minister of Education for many years in Jamaica, and he was the PNP what you call the education minister. And I will tell you that that gentleman for me was one of the most respected in the eyes of the Jamaican people, not just on the PNP side, but on all Jamaicans love him. He wasn't partisan. And so what I'm looking at here was a speech that Babsy Green just made a while ago for all the persons who voted, who are not part of the PNP, but voted for the PNP. For the JLP, sorry, but not part of the JLP, but voted for the JLP. I saw it as I didn't particularly like that statement, because they would have voted for the JLP, and so they are now JLP members. let's join the party again. Let's for the
He
speech.
does. And just to remind you, I have been here throughout the evening with.
All right, so they're ringing the bell, of course. All right, let's. And so that's one of the things I wanted to say. They have not.
And you know, the thing that I find interesting, these politicians have been doing this for a long time. I believe Babs Grange is all of 79 years old. So these are seasoned politicians. Delroy Chuck, of course, Horace Chang,
Yes.
years in politics. And we have also seen the second generation, Colonel
Yes.
Sharp Jr.
Yes.
You know,
Coming in.
With some of the.
Yes. And even on the PNP side, Katie Knight's daughter, Stacey Knight. So it has been passed down through generations. It's something that, you know, they get seasoned in the political game, and then once you're in it and you live in it, you just live forever and ever.
You know, I'm still at the point, Lady Elise, of the third term for the JLP at this point, because it's like I think the JLP had lived as an underdog for the period of time that the PNP would have won the election 3 times in a row, and it was like a big stripe for the PNP coming into this election, and they were winning this election, defeating the PNP, taking away that ability to have that stripe, you know. And so for Andrew to actually make this move, I said earlier, it's like a trophy move for the labor rights in this matter.
I'm anxious to hear his speech this evening, because
Yes.
I'm sure he will have a lot to say on this historic occasion.
I'm awaiting them to come on and actually give the speech at this time. I think they're having some technical difficulty with the sound, and so we are also at Flashpoint awaiting to hear from them. You know, but I was still tapping into the statement that was made by the
I think by now the Prime Minister has the
Honorable Babs Grange, when she said that those who are not PNP and voted, or not Labour rights and voted for the Labour, thank them. You know, I kind of find it a little, you know, for me, I didn't like that one. So I'm going to say it as it is. Because if somebody voted for me, they are for me. They're not for anybody else. And so I would say, you can't say that the PNP vote for the Labour rights. You have to say somebody who saw the vision of the Labour rights voted for you. And that is what I would say.
Well, you know, so I will hasten to say, if you're just joining us, you are live Flashpoint,
able
bring your
to
live
sort of
update of
recant or take back a view he held. So for example, not
of course, he declared winner with 34 seats, and the PNP trading with 29 seats. This is in the recount. There are some close calls, and magisterial recounts will be happening very soon. But so far, the preliminary results are showing JLP with 34 seats and PNP with 29 seats. We await the victory speech by the Honorable, and as of course we already heard the concessions from Mr. Mark Foley.
for the judiciary and the budget.
All right. So what we're looking at also, Lady Elise, is for me, you know, in this whole context of what's happening, as we are about to join the speech of the Prime Minister of Jamaica, I would say to you that the people of Jamaica rightfully has spoken, and this was part of the conversation that was happening, that the people, by such a low voter turnout, did not really speak, because they actually spoke in rejecting the government because they didn't come out in droves. But as we explained earlier on, that the persons who did not come out, they are suffering from what you call, that you mentioned particular voter empathy, that apathy, that they did not feel like they need to vote. But you know, at this point, I believe that the people who actually didn't vote are the ones who will have to be they don't have a voice, and so they shouldn't complain about anything that is happening. If the country is not going well, if things are not going well in the country, but those persons who did not take the opportunity to go and vote, they should not be complaining about anything at all. That's just my take on it. Because if you wanted to have a voice, you should have gone out and do your voting and actually make yourself know that this is what I wanted for myself, and I decided that this is what I'm gonna take a bold step and choose for me what I wanted. You know? So that's what I'm thinking. All right, I'm gonna go over to the TVJ newsroom and to join them once again, ladies, and of course await the Prime Minister's speech right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. Of course, it has been a very interesting night, and the people are, blood has run red high in terms of the hype in what's happening, and a lot of anger, a lot of pain, a lot of joy, mixed feelings. And so defeat is not good or sweet, but victory is. And so at some point, one person must win and one must lose. And so I hope that we don't have too many sore losers. And I see this election as one of the elections that you don't hear a lot of violence going on. I haven't heard anybody having any incidents or anything that went on in this election. If there are incidents, I've not heard much about that yet. And so we'll hear more about it afterwards.
A few incidents, but not in the majority. But there have been a few incidents.
All right, so we're going to join the TVJ newsroom once again to get some more updates on what's happening in Jamaica.
If positions don't soften, and perhaps the numbers won't allow positions to
But
soften.
strange in that regard, because when the PNP had a landslide majority, it didn't get the cooperation from the JLP in opposition either.
Which is when?
From the 90s going forward. Remember, the constitutional reform process was very much alive then. It was a big thing.
All right, stick up in. And listeners and viewers, this issue of constitutional reform, some of the major changes that would have to be made in the Constitution require the support of both the opposition and the government. Both would have to vote together. The government would need the opposition support right now, certainly in the lower house as well as in the upper house. What we've seen over the past, how much years, is the two sides unable to agree. Most recently, the most recent attempt at constitutional reform, the government wanted to remove the monarch as our head of state, as well as to create a republic. The opposition's position was that if you're removing the monarch, they also wanted to remove the Privy Council as Jamaica's final court. I'm less optimistic than you, MLA. I've gone on record as saying I don't think it's happening anytime soon, constitutional reform, and I'm going to go further and say now that the Prime Minister has reiterated, because I know he said it before, he has reiterated that his belief is that we need a Jamaican court as our final court of appeal. We are going absolutely nowhere.
No, but I don't think that's all the Prime Minister said. He said he prefers that, but he thinks on such a fundamental issue, we should hear from the people whether they want to remain.
But if that is a signal that's coming from the government and coming from the Prime Minister, an indicative referendum is not going to go that way.
No, as far as I understand the Constitution, the problem with the final court is, even though we don't require a referendum to change from the Privy Council, because the Privy Council is deeply entrenched in the Constitution.
No, it's not.
The Privy Council
No,
is.
it's not. We can remove the Privy Council. We can remove the Privy Council. Difficulty is what we replace.
But that's the point. So
Privy Council is not
no, hold on
deeply
a second.
entrenched.
Let me finish the point. We can remove it, but they require the court with which we're going to replace it to be at the same level of entrenchment as the court we are replacing it with.
And hold on, because I always want to make sure our viewers and our listeners are following. The Privy Council has said that if Jamaica wants to remove the Privy Council, it can do so. It does not need a 2/3 majority in both houses of Parliament to do it. So, for instance, it could have been done the last time around, based on the majority that the government had in Parliament. What the Privy Council has said is that to put in place a replacement, you then need the 2/3 support meaning both government and opposition have to work together. So I'm making the point that the Privy Council is not entrenched. We could remove the Privy Council, and Jamaica could, it wouldn't be desirable, but Jamaica could exist with the Court of Appeal as its final court, having removed the Privy Council.
So there are two layers, as you said.
Okay. Clearly, me and Emily are going to have to pick that up another time. Right now, let's go over to JLP headquarters, where the Prime Minister is about to speak.
This bell is not an easy bell to ring. I wouldn't be surprised if Bustamante rang this bell. But I carry the symbol of the party today because it is such a historic moment that this is a victory for our founder Bustamante, for Sir Donald Stanster, for Hugh Shearer, for Edward Philip George Thiago, for Bruce Golding. And I want to invite Mrs. Carla Thiago to just come and acknowledge the moment and take a bow to the crowd. Because all of this Mr. Thiago still has, well, he must be happy. So Desmond, just you are only allowed to hold the bell temporarily. Do not ring it. I have a few things to say early on. Firstly, let me thank the thousands of Jamaicans who prayed for me personally and who prayed for the government. I want to thank my wife and one of my sons is here, Adam. Come on, guy. Of course, the superwoman. And my mother. I want to thank them personally. I mean, you know, a political campaign, sometimes, you know, when they see the personalities, they forget that they are human beings with feelings and emotions, and they can be objectified. It's very difficult, but I want to thank my family here and abroad and all over who have withstood a tremendous onslaught, but they never gave up on me or on the people of Jamaica. I want to thank the political team. I think we have the best political team in the Caribbean. But allow me to, I do this at a risk, but I'm sure everyone will agree that my Deputy Prime Minister, Horace Chang, the General Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party, deserves special commendation. You know, there's a special bond that has to be between the leader and the General Secretary of a political party. And Horace and I have been working for the greater part of 30 years together. We have been very good friends and very good professional associates. We have a mind share and we are both very much committed to Jamaica, like everyone in the team. I want to thank you, the supporters. You would know how much you mean to me. For all of you who squeeze up on the bus to come to the meeting, who go on the long motorcades with us, for all of you who take on the PMP them when you hear them with the lies. But for all of you who have stood up and chosen Jamaica, I say thanks to you, the supporters of the party. You make us stronger, and we stand here on your shoulders. And thank you. God bless you, and I love you. Today, Jamaica won. Jamaica won this election. Yes. The majority of voters decided to choose Jamaica. Make no mistake about it. This was not victory by default. Make no mistake about it. This was not an easy victory. Make no mistake about it. This was a fight. But we did not descend my political organization. We did not descend to the gutter to fight. We did not seek to trick the people to win. We did not seek to tear down anyone to lift up ourselves. We did not seek to tear down Jamaica in order to be able to administer the affairs of Jamaicans. We ran a clean, disciplined, focused, well-organized campaign. And we proved that we can run a decent campaign and win. And that is how Jamaica has won. That is how Jamaica wins. Our democracy by this election is proven to be intact. There are those who are trying to seed a view that the mere fact of a third term is a threat to democracy. There are those who are trying to carry the idea that regardless of how well a government performs and merits to be re-elected, it shouldn't happen because somehow that is a threat to democracy. Well, today has dispelled that, because we went through the toughest battle in any democratic society in the region, to stand here and say he will be the government for the third time. And I want that point to be understood. We contested the election with the highest level of decency and morality. The people came out. We do have our concerns about the turnout, but the people who voted, the majority spoke and chose Jamaica. So I am satisfied that our democracy is strong. But I wish to assure all Jamaicans who participated in the elections or who did not participate in the election that my government will continue to be respectful of, uphold and advance democratic institutions and protect the democracy of this country. There are some things that should be said. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Jamaica is at a special place today. It is an opportunity. For me, it was also a personal challenge. And I would just like to say, when you face challenges and you look for the opportunities, rise to the occasion. Look at yourself. You know you're strong. No one can stop you. And after all the attacks, the lies, the rumors, the innuendos, I am still solid as a rock. They just can't stop me now. Now, in the third term, as in the first and the second, we must guard against arrogance. We must develop an even keener ears to listen to the people. We must be focused on addressing the needs of the people. And while it is clear that the majority have spoken and chosen the Jamaica Labour Party, geographically and traditionally, there are still those who may not share that view. And for varying reasons. One reason is they say, yes, we see prosperity in some areas, but they want prosperity to come now to their community, to their driveway and to their doorway. This government, in our third term, must be laser focused on ensuring that there is prosperity for all Jamaicans. And just to be clear, Prosperity doesn't mean riches. For some people, prosperity means peace. They want to live in peace. For some people, prosperity may mean their children getting to university. For some people, prosperity is a car. For others, it is a house. But for most people, it is the road fixed in their community and water in their pipes. And so, we must be focused on delivering these basic public services, which means prosperity for so many. But Jamaica is more than that. Jamaica is a potential to be realized. And for decades, we have underperformed. The story of Jamaica is that we have done so much as a country, but we could have done so much more. For the first time, an electorate has said, we will reward a performing government to continue to deliver the promise of Jamaica. The promise of cutting murders and crime and bringing Jamaica finally to peace. The peace which we had 60 years ago. We can have peace in our country. The promise of Jamaica being a growing and robust economy, which we had 60 years ago, we will continue to fulfill the promise of the growth of the Jamaican economy. We will continue to fulfill the promise of a knowledgeable, educated, and informed society, where every child can have access to the best quality education. We will continue to fulfill that promise. We will continue to fulfill the promise where every Jamaican can have meaningful employment and earn a meaningful income so that you can fulfill your own personal dreams and aspirations. We will continue to fulfill that promise. And we will continue to build a society that is just. A society that is fair for everyone. We will continue the work that we have started in our second term. Now, as I close my presentation to you, our political organization, like any other organization, must renew itself. The third term is also an opportunity for renewal, to attract new people, to expose new talent, to refresh ideas, and to place to the Jamaican people a continued, credible political organization that can always ably lead the government of the country. So we will not be laying back comfortable in victory. No. We will be rebuilding, refreshing, renewing, and preparing to be a credible alternative to the opposition for the fourth term of a Jamaica Labour Party government. So Labourites, Jamaicans, your democracy is strong. You have made the right decision to continue with a government that performs, because it sends a signal to governments to come that the way to win is by performing, by doing, by achieving victory by merit. Third, in our second term, we created a momentum. We are on the right path, heading in the right direction with the right trajectory. That should not be broken, and the Jamaican people share that view, and therefore we will continue to use the momentum to accelerate the development of our country and to ensure that you can get the benefits and the aspirations that you have always wished for. And fourth, we commit to being a responsible, caring, and fair government. That is my commitment and the commitment of my team to you. We will be the political party to move Jamaica from poverty to prosperity. I continue to be your 1 p.m.
Okay, you are listening.
All right.
And you did us done the legacy, and even though there has been some loss in terms of the margin which they won the last election, and he did say they had to work to get this win. It just did not fall in their laps. That is, and some one thing he said, one of the things is to also remind them not to become arrogant. You know, the third term doesn't mean arrogance. It means still service to the people, and a reminder that what counts is how we treat the people, whether they have voted for you, yes or no. There are basic things that Jamaica need. They need economic satisfaction, they need good roads, they need water in the pipes and so forth, and able to realize their dreams, to have a good education, good health care. So he reminded us of the vision of each and every Jamaican. And I think that is important in a victory speech, not to only think about, okay, the laborites have won, but the Jamaican people needs to be number one. And he did mention the possibility of a fourth term, which I think is quite an ambitious plan.
I laughed at the idea. I could have heard it coming up in the speech when I was listening to him, and to hear him say it is like he was reading my mind, or I was reading his mind in this way, because I could have seen it. You know, I while the conversation was going on, ladies, I looked at my record and I remember a party by the name that was called the NDM, and so I have not heard much of that party coming up anymore. But as I say, it was one of those parties that for me split the JLP in two at a certain time and gave the PNP a clear victory and winnings at a time when the PNP, and then Edward Siaga would have been prime minister, well, was running for that and was a prime minister of the country and was trying to win was not prime minister of the country, but he was trying to win the government at the day. But because of the split in the party with the NDM party at that time, which was actually a subsidiary of the JLP party, taking membership from it. It weakened that then government, and then the PNP continued to have a third term. With that being said, and so I watched that happen, and I said to myself, I've not heard much about it anymore, and I said, well, here goes one thing that will not cause the same incident to happen two times in a row, and so yeah, I'm the monarch of Jamaica. They were talking about trying to get rid of the head of state as the governor general in this sense, which would represent the monarch, the Queen of England, or the King of England at this point, which we claim that we have had independence for such a long time, but then still have the people who we were independent from as still head of us after independence has been declared. It's a very difficult one to see, but then I guess Jamaica will then make some decisions later on in the coming years, and let's see what we do with that.
Yes,
All right.
But to start September 4, we are just a few minutes away from midnight, recording such a historic moment in Jamaica's history. He brought up the Honorable Buster Manty and the legacy. We speak about history and importance of history and know where you have come from. He is standing on the shoulders of those persons who have
Come
gone
before him.
before.
Yes.
And that is such important recognition of this victory. It's not his victory. He spoke about the most honorable Edward Siaga, Bruce Golding. He brought all the leaders down through the ages. And so I believe it is an important statement. And what's in my mind? What next? Who comes after Andrew? What is the plan? It is such an interesting thing to watch unfold. And I think that has been part of the challenge of the People's National Party over the years in terms of the continuity and bringing young persons into the party, young persons that are an option for people. And so democracy. And I like the fact that he encouraged the listening audience and reminded us that yes, there's a concern that with a third term, one questions if the democratic process is still alive and well. But he reassured us the people have spoken and they have made the choice. And the choice they have made is because of the work he has done. Well, let's see what happens after tonight. Promises have been made and persons are looking forward for the fulfillment of these promises. Let's see what happens after tonight. The work has just begun.
Well, Lady Liz, it's 2025 and the election has been won by the GLP at this time. Of course, many persons are unhappy, many persons are sad, many persons are joyful and very elated over the win at this point. And of course, it is election 2025. And of course, you're listening to Flashpoint. Of course, if you are listening to us on our web radio at www.flashpointmedia.ky, I know you have been listening ball by ball, score by score for this election. Of course, if you're following us on our social media platform, or YouTube, or Instagram, and or Facebook page, of course, 2025 election has been a very big pleasure for us to present to you. I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of this election year, right here in the Grand Cayman. And of course, we outside of we are in the diaspora, so we are one of the persons. When we asked the question earlier, Lady Elise, if it is okay for persons living in the diaspora to vote in Jamaica, we are such persons who are hardened Jamaicans living outside. We are operating our media houses and other businesses and platforms outside of Jamaica, but we are all for Jamaica and the benefit and the success of the Jamaican people and ourselves as a country. So having said that, I would say good night, bid our friends good night. And of course, we made us turn over to the the TVJ team just for a moment for the final bit and pieces of what they're saying. And then, of course, we close our broadcast at this time. But for now, we're going to say good night to you. And we're saying catch you tomorrow morning for the breakfast hour at 6:30 in the a.m. right here on Flashpoint. Hey, ladies.
I just want to say thank you for tuning in to our live coverage of the 2025 Jamaica election. Of course, the voters have spoken. The Jamaica Labour Party have been declared in the preliminary count as the winners, winning by 34 seats to the PNP at 29 seats. There will be some magisterial recount in some close, close counted constituencies, and we certainly listen out for that. So congratulations to the winners and well fought People National Party. For those persons who made their voice heard, I say come the voters as well. Those who went out and made that decision, put that purple ink on their finger, well done.
Well, Lady Alice, as you said earlier, I wanted to just make it clear that the 34-29 in terms of the election and how it has been done in terms of the voting at this point, it is not the idea that Jamaica is saying that it is 34-29, but indeed it is that Jamaica is saying that we as Jamaicans, the voting, the ballots are not yet fully counted, and if there's, like you said earlier, anything can change at that time. But with all being said, the JLP will still stand the victor at this time, no matter what happens. If they even, it could be that they lose up, they could get 28 ballots or get 30 ballots, and the JLP getting 33 instead of 34. So, having said that, ladies, I guess we sign off from this our broadcast here at Flashpoint, and I thank you, listeners and viewers, for joining us for this edition of the election 2025.